Welcome back to Slothcast, where we pick a movie that we like, pair it with booze that goes well with it. We drink the booze and talk about the movie. I am your host, the Slothman, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts with the most, Mr. Trevor Beveridge. Trevor, how are you?
It's cold here, man. It's 50 degrees. I barely stand it.
I feel sorry for you. It's 65
liquor. Oh, really?
Balmy 65.
It's warmer there than it is here.
Mm-hmm. And also joining and our other host is Mr. Detective Wolfman. Detective, what's the news on the streets?
Man, it's actually warm here, and I hate it. It's too warm for Christmas, but we had a good rain today, so I'm hoping that'll make it cold.
Good to hear it. Joining us on the show is the indomitable Mr. Dan Thrall. Mr. Thrall, thank you for joining us this evening. How are you feeling?
Well, I just started hitting my neoliberal schizophrenia juice pen so I can keep up with you guys. So I'll be high in a couple seconds. But
yeah.
Hell yes, brother. Welcome to the show. Tonight, we are drinking Diplomatico Reserva Exclusiva, and we are talking about the 1998 film Hurly Burly.
Oh God, was that movie made in 1998? I couldn't tell.
I know. Yeah. I thought it was like a 95, shocking, right? 94. Well, it has a really almost digital look to it.
I'm sure it was shot on digital.
Yeah, you think so?
One of the thoughts I had was like, I'm sure it was shot on. I would be really surprised if that was shot on film. Zoomers and millennials should watch it because, like, you know, people thought they had problems in the 90s and their problems were mostly bullshit. And this is a glimpse into like what people thought were big problems in the 90s. It's very innocent, very cute.
So, Trevor, let's start off with the rum, Diplomatico. It's Peruvian rum. Why did you pick Diplomatico? No?
No, sir.
No. All right.
It's Venezuelan.
See, is it really?
Yeah.
This is communist shit we're drinking here?
It's from the most fucked up poor country in the world.
Didn't used to be though, right?
Not really. It's not that. Venezuela's not that bad. They have problems, but
okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about it. Tell us about Diplomatico and the problems facing the Venezuelan people.
Okay. This is So no, originally I was considering doing a Peruvian rum because of the obvious references to cocaine. And they make good rum all over the northern part of South America. Like there's great Colombian rum, Guyanan rum, Venezuelan rum as we're enjoying today. And it has its own character. Rum as a spirit is kind of defined by geography. Jamaican rum will always taste different from Puerto Rican rum or rum from Barbados, Bahian rum, from the rums of Central America.
Oh, yeah, it says right there.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember what my brand of rum was when I used to drink because I was a big fan of rum.
Mm-hmm.
Rum, people really like, if I may, without knowing anything about what we're drinking, stop sleeping on rum, guys. Like, if all you've had for rum is Bacardi or Captain, you've been drinking vodka. You need to go get some rum. Kraken's fine. It's not great, but it's fine.
Ugh.
Cool thing about rum, I gotta be in the mood. I don't drink anymore, but I gotta be in the mood for Kraken. But you know, Kraken even is kind of whatever. I mean, the cool thing though is you can get a super nice bottle of rum for $20. You know, because like rum tops out pretty low on like quality, and so you're at like, you know, Bevmo, if you're in Bevmo country or whatever, and you can get a solid bottle, especially white rum, for like $20, and you are going to know that you're drinking sugar cane. You are not going to, you know, and it's got wonderful kind of like spicy. It's just, it's such a beautiful spirit, and people really sleep on it. It's, you know, I wouldn't buy a bottle of it, but like if I was there with you guys, I would definitely be, you know, having a sample to have a smart talk about it. Cause like, as I always say, I'm not an alcoholic. I just don't drink. So it's not like I couldn't have, you know, have a little taste to just kind of get the discussion going with you guys. But
just to feel it. Just have
the taste, you know what I mean? Because like I'll drink it. You know, if I go to a wedding and everybody's doing a toast, I'm not. Oh, I don't drink. I can't do a toast. It's like I'll do the toast, and I'm going to spend 15 minutes picking my drink. You know,
right.
I want to drink it, and the whole like sampling and tasting thing people do. Like anytime I drink now, it's always at a toast, but I always do that like because this is the only booze I'm going to have for I don't know. You know, until I'm at a wedding or something again. And like, so yeah, man, I give it a sniff. I hold it on my tongue and like, but go get some rum, kids. Like, stop sleeping on rum. Rum is a Cuba Libre with nice rum, Mexican Coke, fresh lime. It just does not get any better on a summer day.
This stuff tastes like, I had it on ice because that's what Trevor said he was having it. So that's how I had it. This stuff, once you put the ice in it and you let the ice melt, as the ice melts, it starts to taste like watered down Coke, but like still sweet. Yeah. So it has this like nice, smooth. It's very mischievous. Like it creeps up on you. And I've twice now like fell asleep in my chair, just watching movies, just like, and then having to like wake up and look at what I have to clean up my area, you know, and I'm just like, it knocked me on my ass twice in a row. So I'm sure it's
you do got to be careful with rum because the only time I've ever blacked out was rum. And it was because like, it's so smooth. You just drink it. And then you're like, fuck, 3/4 of this bottle is gone. You know, and like, I'm not that drunk, but I'm gonna be.
Yeah.
That's the thing with rum, but it's a tasty treat, man. I mean, when you get a good rum, it's very complex. You definitely know where your money went. And like, it's like rye. Like I fucking used to love the shit out of rye. And like Rittenhouse, that's the best rye I ever had. It's like 15, $20 a bottle. You know, rum's the same way. You can get like solid rum for nothing.
Yeah. This was like $35. And actually I only got this because Trevor's first choice was like $16. I'm sure it was probably fucking delicious, but I can't get it.
$35 for rum is like $80 for scotch.
Yeah.
Like moving into
that's
like
right. Yeah.
Lefroy Ardbeg kind of like territory with a $35 bottle of rum for the scotch guys out there. I was a big Lefroy drinker myself, and you know, that's about the price point for a $35 bottle of rum. Like you guys have some really good rum, and I'm definitely jealous.
It won the Wine Enthusiasts 2018 Spirit Brand of the Year award.
It's the best looking bottle in my bar too.
It's nice
by a mile.
It's very pirate Jack Sparrow piratey. He's always, and it's kind of like foggy glass. I like that foggy glassy. Yeah. Like you want to just keep drinking it. You could, drink it out of the bottle and
try some out of the bottle. Actually, this is something I did. Mm-hmm. Like, it's really good out of the bottle. Because I remember
it's like syrup.
Yeah,
it's like syrup.
It's not the best way to taste the spirit, obviously, but it's kind of fun.
I'll drink the rest of it like that. Okay, I'll go along with it.
Yeah. I don't know. I might too after I finished my.
So what's the history? What's the history of this? Who made the rum? Was it the colonizers?
Was it Ron Antigua?
Yeah. Was it the Spaniards, the conquistadors? Where did this come from?
Diplomatico?
It's rum itself. Rum itself.
Oh, rum itself. Yeah, rum is kind of in many ways, the OG spirit. Like distillation probably started in Asia and was really brought to the European scientific community via Muslims, via the Arabs mostly. But
just like COVID.
Just like
yeah. But it really came into its own in the age of exploration, when people on boats really needed something that wouldn't spoil to keep them drunk.
Right.
Whereas fermented beverages are much more susceptible to contaminated and oxidation.
Wasn't it also not just to keep them drunk, but also to like just keep them hydrated? Because it lasted, right? Like it would, or like scurvy or some shit. Wasn't there like vitamin D deficiencies on those ships when they were coming over? And so they needed drink to like, I don't know. Is this
no, that's part of it. Like, for example, they used to drink beer instead of water in a lot of communities in Europe because it was safer.
Yeah, the water was so contaminated.
It was like
and the grog ration until the 70s in New Zealand. I want to say
it was like beer soup.
Yeah.
Right. Beer soup. It was all like fucking.
Grog is the first cocktail. It's rum diluted with water and lime to stave off scurvy and kill the contaminants in water. It's the original cocktail, and it was made with rum. And sugar cane itself was like such an important piece of the story of the settling and the colonial conquest of the Americas, which is why it was rum.
I learned I taught myself this week actually, when I was considering where this rum came from and Spanish and everything, where Spanish like the language, and I was thinking about conquistadors, and I came up with that name means conquerors.
Wow!
Right?
Yeah.
I came up with that on my own.
Isn't Venezuela Portuguese though?
No.
Or is that Brazil?
Brazil.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know why I never considered that the word conquistador meant fucking conquerors. I think it's because they talk about colonialism as like this secret thing. It's like the very secret. Like, actually, no, it was pretty fucking clear. They call themselves conquerors. I don't know. I don't think there's anything hidden about it. You know what I mean? Like they act like it was a sneaky thing that
I never learned anything about slavery or colonialism in school.
No,
yeah, certainly not.
That's true. That is true.
About that, I was wild, because it was somebody on Twitter who first told me about slavery, and I was like, "Damn, dude, I don't know."
That's fucked up.
That shit is whack.
That's really fucked up. I didn't know it. I've never heard of it.
The hidden history of the United States.
Yeah, it's a good thing that they're finally teaching kids about that.
Whatever. Cortez was badass. DeSoto rules. Those guys are the shit.
So this is my question is about that is like, I'm dying to know what the natives thought the first time they saw 6 foot tall, blue-eyed, blonde-haired guys on horses.
Yeah.
Gods.
Like, Chad pulls up in a Mustang where they don't have any fucking idea what any of this shit is. Right?
A literal Mustang.
Yeah.
Like,
right, exactly.
And he's got like
like
a shiny breastplate on.
yeah, with the fucking
Shadow
hat,
shows up,
the fucking
all
feathered
6
hat.
foot 2 of them, and his long blonde hair and his bright blue eyes and his horse, and starts, killing everything in sight. We know what the response was, because we know what the continent looks like now, but I'm trying to be as delicate about this as possible. But yeah, I just am like, I wish I could be like a fly on the wall the first time that the Chads of Spain arrived in the Yucatan and presented themselves, particularly to the ladies. That's the aspect of it that I'm really interested in. How did the women respond to this?
Yeah, I think about the same way about the Mongolians. I tweeted about that a few weeks ago. I was like, because I think about it constantly, not just Mongolians, but Vikings or the sort of, not Persians, but the ones who kind of came in and kind of kicked everybody out of Constantinople, right?
The Ottomans.
The Ottomans, yeah. Like thinking about that, like thinking about what it'd be like to see that, to just, but with the I guess the natives, the Native Americans from the North and the South, particularly the ones in the South, were like 4 or 5. And like, you see these giant guys just come in and they're wearing helmets and fucking, they got shit you've never seen before. They got beasts you've never seen before.
Yeah.
And they're not even like, I don't even think that they're coming in. They're just coming in going, this is like ripe. Nothing is being done. They've got I don't know what they're doing, cocaine all day. And then they're killing like 30,000 of them. Fuck it. Let's just, dig up some gold. And if you don't, we'll cut off your fucking arm. And then, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably very business as usual. And also the Mongolians would have just went over everybody if it wasn't for like some infighting going on back in China. So it's not like this like special case. It's like, it's just something that happens all the time. So this idea that it's like specific to.
Yeah, it's just the natural course of history.
Yeah.
Well, for most of human history until like 1800, the only way people made things was slave power.
Yeah.
Muscle anyway, there's places in the world where it's free labor pulling coal out of the mines, but for the most part, it's not anywhere in the world until the middle of the 19th century. I mean, the amount of historical illiteracy that you have to possess to like not know that slavery, a lack of slavery is, or a relative lack of slavery is wildly anomalous for human history.
Like slavery, also genocide. Like all of the all that shit was that's just what you did.
Yeah.
It was a playbook. Like,
right. There was no like moral reflection on whether or not it was right or wrong. It was just what you did.
Yeah, it was nature.
A place where we reflect on the morality of such things, which is, an improvement.
And the history of the cultivation of sugar is tied up with slavery as cotton is, or perhaps more so.
Mm-hmm.
And it was largely driven by rum.
No shit.
Oh, absolutely.
Go on.
So the subjugation of the natives in the Caribbean is where first contact was made. And it's also one of the best areas for sugar in the world. And it's where sugar cane was first discovered by Europeans. I believe that they had sources of sugar that come from a sugar beet, as they call it, from terrestrial vegetables. But sugar cane, which is a much more viable source of sugar for industrial production was discovered in the Americas. And almost instantly, they put people to work making and cultivating this. And when they found out they could make good booze from it, it kickstarted the transatlantic slave trade, from what I understand. And then later they found other crops that they needed that were highly labor intensive, that they needed unpaid workers, slaves, to help cultivate. But sugar is actually like an important part, and rum itself, of the story of how people became so hungry and so greedy for forced labor. And like you guys said, it always existed, but it became an industry after Columbian exchange, because sugar was revolutionary because the production of sugarcane, it was able to change the way everything tasted. Mm-hmm. It changed the way people ate and the way food could taste. And as far as rum goes, it was this cheap, easy source of fermentable sugars that you can make good booze with.
Well, yeah, like before you put sugar in food, like eating was just a necessity. It was just fueling your body. But then once you can make all these damn cakes and pastries and shit, it becomes an event.
Yep, absolutely. And when they learned how to refine sugar, it's easy to transport. You can make syrups, and like as we do today, granulated sugar with it. And if we think about like crops like this, along like sugar to cotton, I feel like you could also put cocaine in that class.
Booga sugar.
Yeah, which is why a part of the reason I always think about rum when I think about cocaine is because they're both just so good, and part of it's because they come from the same part of the world, and part of it is because there's like a really ugly sort of like network of slavery associated with both.
Sugar and coke.
Yeah, ruthless bloodletting.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that's why immediately I was like, yeah, we should do a rum with this movie. And I wanted it to be a rum that was compulsively drinkable and kind of like easygoing and dangerous. And
you should have told me before. You should have told me that.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Do we need to send help? No. But so this particular rum kind of has a mixed reputation among like rum nerds. Some people love it because it's delicious and an excellent value for what it is, even though it is like, you know, a premium rum and it's priced as such. It like for its stats and its flavor, it's not an age stated 12-year rum, but the distillate is around, it's between like, I think they on their website they say 9 and 12 years. Mm-hmm. And it's super rich and concentrated. It comes from a blend of pot and column distilled rums, mm-hmm. which is similar to the tradition you'd find in Barbados. Not as common in South America, but some places do it. It's good. It's good stuff, and it's a good price, but it is doctored up. It's made, there's sweeteners added to it. You can tell because I've
really.
Oh, for sure.
Oh man, Anthony was living clean.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I thought this was like, wow, this is some pure shit. Like, you know, when when you get like really pure cocaine and the shit is like shining from the light. It looks like a rainbow has landed on the plate.
You guys do a lot of cocaine. Holy shit.
You don't feel it, that little, you don't feel the burn in the back of your throat, and you don't feel like taking a shit. It just feels numb, and you're like, that's nice. It's kind of sweet. This is how it should.
No, this is the opposite. If you had unadulterated rum, it would burn. It would burn. And because this doesn't
burn, the best part, you fucking pussies.
Oh yeah, trial by fire.
It is. It's just in my fantasy. There's a pure alcohol distilled liquor that just naturally tastes like Coca-Cola.
Yeah,
and you don't even need to add the Coke.
Yeah, and that's part of why this is so delicious, is because it does taste like that. But the reason it does taste like that is because there's some sugar and spice in it. You can tell because I've been drinking it out of the bottle, and there's these little trails coming down. Mm-hmm. You can see them there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got those.
Like syrup. You don't get that from like straight booze.
It's syrupy, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for better or worse, that's just what this product is. I like it still.
I like it, but for $40, you expect a little purity. That's all I'm saying.
Oh no. And that's why this is that's why part of the rationale for the pairing is this is the cocaine of rums.
Yeah, it's damn good. So, and it's stepped on, is what you're saying.
This shit's prepped for the street.
That's right. But they're selling it at like, quality prices here.
Yeah, but it's not blue magic, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
this shit don't have no rainbows coming off of it. There's no fish scales here. This is but it tastes fucking damn good.
And that's what I'm saying. But when you're partying, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Very true. It's quantity over quality.
Yeah. Well, and it's also just good. Like, so the other Venezuelan rum that I buy is called Santa Teresa, and that's a super legit, like totally non-adulterated rum. And I was thinking about the difference between the two, and I was like, you know what, Santa Teresa is really good. And it's a little more expensive than this for what I usually buy. They're premium, like comparably aged rum.
Okay.
But I feel like Diplomatico is the rum for this movie, and it's the rum I kind of want to drink.
Yeah.
It's the rum I want to party with, Santa Teresa is the better like rum as far as what goes into it and everything. But yeah, sometimes you want to drink that delicious sweet nectar. Just get fucked up.
Yeah. No, it's a good choice. It's a good pairing. I would recommend it. For let's say if you're a single guy or gal, maybe the gals, if they want to, I don't know, girls buying, if they live, anyway, but if for a single guy, I would do this and, for a date night, right? You're not going to buy this for yourself and just drink it, right?
That's what I
do.
It's
real. Well, yeah.
What do you think? Wait, that's what you would do.
I'd give this to a broad.
Yeah. Give it to, where were you saying? What did you say, Trevor, though?
Well, so what this rum is often used for, and what it's good for, is a big part of the rum community is big into cigars, and a sweeter rum like this goes well with cigars.
I can see that.
Rum has always been. Let me just say this, like, because I'm as far as spirits go, tequila is my favorite spirit, and that's what I am the most obnoxious about. I'm not as obnoxious about rum, even though I love it. Rum has always been a spirit that like since the beginning of rum distillation, they have added sugar and spices to make it taste better. The tradition of doctoring rum goes back from the inception of the spirit.
Wow.
Yeah, there's kind of like not really such a thing as pure rum, especially if it's spiced and it's dark rum. Like there's not.
Yes.
Dark rum isn't really ever pure.
Okay.
Exactly.
White rum might be.
Right.
And you can, and it's really good when you get it. And it's like, like I'm drinking liquid sugar cane right now. It is delicious.
Yeah.
But any spiced rum is always going to have some kind of crap in it.
Okay.
Yeah, and part of the reason for that is because pure rum, like white rum, depending on how it's made, can be very funky. So if it's made from fresh cane juice, you're talking about like rum agricole from Martinique or cachaça, which is what they drink in Brazil. It's common all over Latin America, like pure fresh cane juice based rums. And those are really funky. Those are, 2.0, unpleasant unless you grew up with it sort of things. And then there's Jamaican pot still rum, which isn't made from fresh cane juice necessarily, but it's a raw pot distilled product from sugars that have been somewhat manufactured, like molasses. And those are funky too. To make a white rum that's like clean and easy, like Bacardi does, you have to use modern distillation technology, like a column still or something. And this for its doctoring is made with pot stilled rum, and you can taste it and you can smell it. That's that kind of like that tang, that like rum twinge that you get in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It smells like, to me, like pineapple and cherries. That like alcohol smell.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're dealing with that, like part of the way to make it more pleasant,
syrupy, it's like mapley,
is barrel aging and potentially the use of sugar additives.
Okay. But would you get this? This is like a party thing, or is this a special thing? What do you think?
For the price I paid for it, this is a special thing.
It's a special thing. Exactly. Yeah. How did you get it?
Well, I was a little worried. So you guys remember that special liquor store I told you about last time?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I called ahead and they didn't have it. And so that got me worried. But I called around town because I didn't feel like driving to 7 different liquor stores like I did last time for the Dickel.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I found it at a place not too far from me, but yeah, it was $44.
Okay.
Well, so where I live, without giving too much information, there's a pretty hefty liquor tax.
Okay.
So it's weird. Some booze I get very cheap because of where I live, but other stuff is pretty through the roof.
New York's like that. And I went through that same ordeal with the Dickel, and then with this was it was at some random spot. But the other one, the first one that Trevor, and I live in New York, and there's you can't ship booze to New York.
Mm.
So it's in Jersey, but I couldn't order it to just have them ship it. And then to go to Jersey, where that one store was at, was like, bend over backwards. But they have like really weird prohibition laws here still that have never been overturned or amended or anything. So you can't ship any booze into New York, especially Manhattan. But the whole state is the same.
Well, I grew up somewhere where you couldn't buy booze on Sundays until I was in my 20s. So,
oof,
really?
Yeah, man. New England, you can't buy booze. I mean, when I was really young, I remember the first day you could have stores open on Sunday. I mean, and I'm not that old, I'm 40. So like, but yeah, I can remember the first, because we went to Benny's because it was open, because it was only open from 12 to 5. And they were not legally allowed to be open any other hour.
Whoa.
And I'm not sure if they still get time and a half on Sundays in New England states, but they may do. I would be not real surprised either way. But yeah, then when I was like in my teens, they got rid of the blue laws about stores. And then when I was, I think 22, it was the same week that they legalized gay marriage in Massachusetts. They made it so that you could buy liquor on Sundays in Massachusetts, which basically means that they legalized it in Rhode Island because Rhode Island just does everything Massachusetts does. So,
okay.
Yeah, I was 22 and also was on a teetotaler at the time too. So I didn't really give a shit, but,
but I think like it's actually, I kind of like, restrictions like that. That's like one of the things I like about Europe. It's like, you have to plan ahead because in the weekend or during the week, you can't just wake up and go, I want to go eat at a restaurant or I want to go buy some groceries. Like you have to plan that shit. You got to plan the weekend. Like, how am I going to eat? How am I going to live until Monday? Or just live off of kebab or pizza or whatever. But I like that. Like there's certain hours where just shit shuts down. You know, Italy goes extreme because in Italy, it's like in Rome. I was in Rome, right? It's Rome, this beautiful, you know, the big city, Rome. Yeah. And I'm waiting for the last train to take me out where I was staying. And it was supposed to come at like 11:59. And it never came. And so I was like, where's the train? Where's the train? They said, oh, the guy just probably didn't show up. He just didn't go. He probably just went home. I was like, what do you mean he just went home? Like, oh yeah, if they just want to go home, sometimes they just go home. Like they
fucking wops.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing changes.
they just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go home. I don't feel like it.
I love Italy, man. It's like the only country other than America I can really say that about. I used to go pretty regularly, but now I just like I travel all the time, so it's like I don't ever want to actually travel.
Yeah,
you know, but
it's cool to I love the history of it, like Florence and yeah, you can really feel this like old school shit going on there, and you can feel like the ghosts of these people like walking in these little narrow alleyways. But at the same time, I'm like, man, this shit just doesn't hit the same, you know. It's not like this. It's not America or something. I don't know. You know, like there's something.
Dude, it's nice to have a Walmart around. I mean,
yeah.
I'm totally with everything that you just said. Completely. I think it's beautiful. But it's nice to have a Walmart.
Yeah.
Sometimes at 3 a.m, you need, you know, a USB charger, a gallon of milk,
some DVDs,
a pair of underwear,
some electrical tape,
a hammer, you know.
Some floor jacks, like whatever. You just need stuff in the middle of the night. And you know, it's
nice fucking Yoo-hoo.
A Yoo-hoo. And then you're going to go hit up the drive-thru at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Like they don't have Taco Bell. They don't have their Burger King and McDonald's. It's like, it's a double cheeseburger. It's a cheeseburger. You get a Big Mac and I don't know. That's it.
In England, this is great. So in England, I don't know if it's true. It may be an English thing. It may be a British thing. I haven't been to Scotland recently enough to say, but the last time I was in England, they wouldn't sell me a double quarter pounder. And I was like, why? And they said, we can't. And I was like, okay, well, can you sell me a single quarter pounder and just charge me for another patty and slice of cheese? And she was like, no, you can order 2 quarter pounders, but we are forbidden from serving you a double quarter pounder.
Whoa.
So, you know, that's kind of like, I mean, it's almost Europe in a nutshell, really. I mean, there's something kind of like less gay about it than, you know, England, which is arguably the gayest place on earth.
Fuck England.
You know, like
I
hate it. Let me put it this way: start talking to a European about freedom and watch them look at you like you just fucking like landed from Mars and took a shit on their dinner table.
Yeah, yeah.
They have no concept of it, like at all. They just don't like. What do you mean you don't think that there should be speed cameras everywhere? Like they keep people from speeding, and you're like, don't you not want the government putting cameras everywhere? And they're just like, why would I care about that?
But if you say something that they don't like, you should go to jail. I mean, that's just what you should do, right? Like,
yeah, like I mean, outside of England, like people are pretty politically correct. Like throughout Europe in general, it's kind of only really in like I don't know. I mean, I haven't been to like Sweden or anything, but like in Western Europe anyway. I mean, you know, like from being to Italy, like the average Italian is not shy about saying things that would be considered you know, impolite to express, let's put it that way.
But at the same time, if you say in public, like I was out with, they came over here, right? They came over here and visited me, my friends in Italy. And the first day we go out and we go to this like a Mexican place and they say the N-word right in front of the people who are black. and they thought like that was just what you said here. With the R.
That like the R about Europeans where like the slang doesn't.
Yeah.
I was in Holland and I was partying and this dude asked me how I was doing. And I held up 2 bottles, which I had at that time. I was holding 2 bottles at that time anyway, and said, just double fisting it, man, you know? And he looked at me so horrified and goes, you don't have to get all porno about it, man.
Whoa.
And I'm like, no, because that's the 2 bottles. And I didn't mean it like that at all. But he was gone. It was like, you know, the other kind of double fisting and said, get me the fuck away from this guy.
Yeah. That's why those guys came over. It wasn't because of the sugar cane. It was to get away from that shit. They're like,
no. I don't know if you know this, but English invented the word gay.
They did?
That's how gay they are.
They invented the word. All right, so Diplomatico Exclusiva Reserva Exclusiva.
Yeah.
The drink.
Yeah, and ironically, it's not that exclusive. Yeah, it's something you can get almost anywhere.
Well, yeah, that's what I was worried about. Yeah, because the name in the bottle, I figured, oh man, I might not be able to hunt it down. But yeah, they had a shitload of it where I found
it. Buckets of it.
No, it's liquid cocaine. This is what you want if you want to have some friends over and just get drunk off some straight shit real quick. Like I could split this bottle with another fella. Just the two of us. Hell yeah.
It's very English.
Yeah. Prim and proper.
Yes.
And we'll just pass it back and forth like a couple of hobo renegades. And by the time the bottle's empty, we'll be ready to go out and fuck dudes.
So now we say goodbye to the land of we say goodbye now to the land of booze and enter into the magical art of movie making.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Yowza.
Penny whistle. Kind of
here on the morning zoo.
And we're back from our break to talk about the 1998 Anthony Drazen film, Hurly Burly, based off of the David Rabe play. Originally, I guess debuted in 1984 at the Goodman Theater in Chicago. Dan, I saw you tweet that you said, I will go on a podcast that talks about this movie or something to that effect. Okay. And I was like, let's fucking do it.
My Hurly Burly story is I actually saw it. It may have been 99, but it was 98 or 99. and there was this girl who was in, I can't even remember what class she was in. I certainly don't remember her name. This is like 15 years. No, this is like 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. And she, like, I guess she really liked me. We made out a couple of times, but she introduced me to this movie. She was like, oh, this is this great movie and you have to watch it. I think you'll really like it. And I don't think that we watched it together. I think if I recall correctly, she loaned me the DVD. And if I recall correctly, I stole the DVD and maintained it in my collection for many years. And I have a very, very different view of this film at 40 than I did at 20. But some things have stayed the same. And it was a very different experience because it wasn't like a pleasant watch this time. And there's nothing kind of like, it's not entirely unrelatable and entirely alien to me. But when I saw this movie when I was 19 years old or whatever, I was like, fuck, I'm Sean Penn in this movie. That was my guy in the movie. It was like, I'm Sean Penn because I'm constantly like, the thing I said to you and Anthony DM, do you use your real name on here or not?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's okay.
Because they edited it out if I fucked up. But you do care and it does matter. What you mean is it doesn't make any difference. I know exactly what the fuck he means. And also just, I love I was kind of a budding misogynist at 19 and
no, keep going because I've got something to say about this, Dan.
This was like, this is what women are like, and somebody's saying it. And I love, like, another movie I like that I think people who like this movie should watch. I hope at least one of you guys has seen is In the Company of Men.
I haven't seen it.
Damn. So In the Company of Men is about two guys who work for a bank who have to go on a work trip out of town, and they decide that as a lark, they're going to pretend to fall in love with a woman and break her heart. And the woman they pick is a deaf woman. And they decide that they're going to play her between the two of them and break her heart. And if you liked Hurly Burly, boy, I bet you would really like In the Company of Men. Hurly Burly is a nasty little movie. I mean, there's stuff there to latch onto, and it certainly, I think, is worth like appraising critically. But I found it much less enjoyable, and I also think that it, as I said at the beginning, it's just so dated. I mean, it is not aged. It's just frozen in 1998.
Yeah. The movie that you referenced with Aaron Eckhart, I read you said the plot and I read the plot as you were saying, just in a little snippet there. It reminds me of this movie that River Phoenix was in called Dogfight. Did you ever see Dogfight?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like Dogfight, but without the heartwarming ending.
Okay. Without the Bob Dylan.
There's no silver lining in this movie. It's just like, here's a world of shit. Bye.
It's nihilistic. Well, so okay. My first viewing of the Hurly Burly film, my introduction to Hurly Burly was when I was a young actor. I looked at this play. I looked at David Mamet, and then as I'm still a fucking older actor now, I use Mamet's plays and I use Hurly Burly's monologue. I don't get any jobs, so I don't know if I'm choosing the wrong monologue here. But I don't know. A lot of people regard David Rabe as he's not. They don't view him in the same way. Like David Mamet wrote a book. He came out as like, I'm a conservative and I don't like this political shit here. But I'm like, what I'm saying? Like he kind of came out and was like, I'm a fucking warrior here. And so
of course, all of his plays are about money and pussy.
They are.
Who's surprised that David Mamet's conservative?
Yeah.
Wait, but you know what,
good.
Wolfman, it just reminded me, man. You said you wanted to make a point to what Dan was talking about earlier.
Oh, I mean, it's a small point. It's just, so I was watching this movie and I'd been aware of it for a long time, but this is the first time I ever sat down and watched it. And, you know, Dan, I don't know you personally, but we've been mutuals for a bit. We've talked a little, and just what I know of you, I was watching the movie and thinking, what is it about this that speaks to Dan Thrall? And then, cause it's very like, you know, the characters are kind of pathetic and all that. They're not how I imagine, you know, Dan Thrall. But then, yeah, Sean Penn has that line, I think it's like midway through the movie, where he's like, it's them. He's talking about women. He's like, it's them, man. They're fucking ghouls. They're trying to kill us. And I was like, that's it. That's why Dan Thrall loves this movie.
I think it's probably a better play than a movie. I think that's my big takeaway from this is that
absolutely.
I think it's more for the stage, you know, and like the histrionics of it just don't translate very well to cinema, and certainly don't, you know, like my 11-inch screen is like such a small space even compared to a television to watch this. But that was what Wolfman just said, was like, that's the thing is, you know, when I saw that when I was 19, I was like, man, these guys are awesome. And and I watch it at 40 and I'm like, these guys are so fucking pathetic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, the whole thing with Eddie, which was Penn's character's name, I believe. And, you know, Sean, I'll just refer to them as their actor's name. I want to refer to them as
yeah. There's Eddie. There's Eddie. There's Eddie. What is it? Eddie, Mickey, Phil, and Artie.
Eddie, Mickey, Phil, and Artie. Okay, so Eddie, like Phil is completely right that the chick is not like what Eddie thinks she is. And that, I think, is really Eddie's story in the thing, is that he's for whatever reason thinks this woman who wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire is like his hot ticket to love.
I think it's Mickey, right? Mickey's the one. Mickey is the Kevin Spacey character.
Yeah, Mickey.
Yes.
No, so I'm saying this about Mickey to Eddie.
Yeah,
is saying like she's not such a dynamite lady that you think she is. She's not, but like Sean, you know, Eddie's no fucking catch either. And then Mickey is just the greasiest fucking dude in the world. He's just so slimy, and it's such like with the Kevin Spacey thing. It's like it definitely gives it this edge. Like I could give a shit if Kevin Spacey grabbed some 16-year-old ass at a party. Like, I don't give a single fuck, but it does add this extra element of sleaze to that role looking back on it.
Interesting.
You know, I think that Gary Shandling was like really miscast.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
okay.
As was Meg Ryan, in my opinion.
I think Meg Ryan was like an interesting casting choice, but Gary Shandling is just like, what the fuck is he doing in this movie?
Well,
all you see is Gary Shandling.
Well, so it's
crazy. Like all I can fucking see is Gary Shandling.
So when Shandling showed up, so first of all, like I didn't know anything about this movie going into it, other than I knew Sean Penn and Spacey were in it. I didn't know it was based on a play, and then in the first scene, the moment that they say blah 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 the second time, I'm like this was a play.
Yeah,
and I can already hear the play, just the contrived dialogue of a play.
Dialogue is so contrived.
It's so fucking fake. No one ever talked like this anywhere in the world.
This is the thing. This is the thing about the dialogue, right? Where I think the accuracy of the dialogue and the realism of the dialogue comes into play, because I totally had this thought. This is how people fucking talk when they think that they're like performing.
Yes.
You know, he nails that, like, I'm in the middle of an emotional moment in my life and I have to imitate what I've seen on the television. Like, he fucking nails that. So it's like, it does have a realism to it, because everyone is so overwrought and so like caught up in like, oh my, you know, the narcissism of the 90s really comes through in this.
Yeah.
There's so much narcissism in this movie, and there was so much in the 90s, so it's perfect.
So my first view on this is exactly with you guys. I just watched it again this morning, and I was drinking and smoking, which is my little ritual I usually do like the night before, but instead I did it this morning. And on the second viewing, I actually was like, no, I fucking dig this. I like this. I like it because of all of that stuff that you're talking about. Like, it's a great time capsule, but I like David Raven, the fact that he can go from, yes, these contrived theatrical big dialogue, like very unreality kind of things, and then cut to this very like intimate conversation that Robin Wright and Darlene, I guess her name is, and Sean Penn, Eddie, are having in bed. And they're trying to talk about this relationship they're about to get into. Like you do when you are in love with somebody, you just start talking about like, well, we're going to be like this, but we're not going to be like this. And then we're not going to do this and we're not going to do this. And as they're talking, you're like, they're not saying the same thing. They're not being clear. They're being very vague with each other in a way. They're talking around, you know, we got to be cool. You know, yeah, we got to be cool. Emotionally reserved. Yes, of course. Emotionally reserved. Yeah, we got to be a little bit right. But, you know, sometimes we need a little, yeah, but not that. Actually, this word means this. And then at the end of the dialogue, they're no longer talking about each other. They're talking about society. And I don't know about you guys, but like I'll be in the conversations where I'll say, you know, we like as like a royal we, like as a people, but really what I mean is me. I do this, but I'm going to say some other thing to like divert, you know, to not really talk about the thing. I'm going to talk around the thing. And so Ray will, to me, he'll do this. He'll have these like, wow, this is like a real raw human interaction, but he fills it with these sort of Tarantino, like hyper reality Phil like headbutting the girl and just, you know, but even in that headbutting the girl, and he's kind of like over the top and kind of like, hey, I'm feeling really weird, Eddie, you know, this there when he does when he does headbutt the girl, Chaz Palminteri, you at least see in the performance that he's like, man, I'm really fucked up, and like, how do I spin this to be like, how do I shake this off to move the subject into something else? So to me, it is very like canny, but at the same time, with the performances, perhaps the actors treated them, you know, treated the material with a little more like gravitas or something to be like, I don't know. There's a lot of moments in this that are like, man, that fucking happens all the time.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't want it to sound like I didn't love the movie because I did, but
I'm just
yeah, but there were things that I noticed in it that yeah, it's kind of like, so I don't have the benefit of perspective like Dan, where I saw it when I was young and then I watched it again when I was older, but just coming to it now as an older person, or you know, whatever, there were things that I honed in on, like first of all, just that opening scene where Sean Penn is alone in his apartment and he's like drinking, he's doing coke, he's restlessly flipping through the TV because he knows that the woman he's into is fucking someone else.
Yeah.
And that was such a great representation of that feeling. That is the worst goddamn feeling in the world, where you know you have to do something, but there's nothing you can do. And so naturally you just fucking pour poison into your body.
Yeah.
No, like,
dude, knowing your girl is like the girl you like is fucking your best friend. It's like,
oh God. Yeah, no,
that's gotta be the worst.
Once the movie started, I was like, oh God, oh no. And so I was hooked from that scene.
Yeah. I think that second half of the movie for me is when it's like, okay,
yeah,
what happened here? Because the first half, you're like, okay, I get what you're doing. You're trying to adapt it. You're moving them around. A lot of it is the play just sort of adapted for the screen, but,
parts of it feel. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
Oh no, they change locate. They'll put them in now they're talking on the phone. That doesn't happen. The Robin Wright thing with Sean Penn in the car stuff doesn't happen. Like it all happens within this one room. Yeah, and they had
to update it. Like
they have to update it for sure. But in that second half, when it becomes. And then they have to butcher the dialogue, the actual source material, that big long monologue that Sean Penn's giving outside on the patio. It's like, that's like a 5-minute long monologue. And it's a buildup. He's talking about the hydrogen bomb and it's about stuff and things. And then they just kind of butchered it. I don't know what that process was like in terms of who adapted it, but they tried to add in the real.
He adapted his own screenplay.
Oh, he did.
Play to
he did.
Script. Yeah.
Yeah,
He adapted.
I don't know.
His screenplay.
Didn't really overthought it.
This guy, David Rabe, the only other thing that he's done that I think I'm familiar with was he wrote the screenplay, or he was one of the writers for State of Grace, which also has Sean Penn and Robin Wright.
Whoa.
Which is it's like a New York crime movie that I really dig. It's got Gary Oldman, Ed Harris.
State of Grace, yeah, that sounds good.
State of Grace, it's solid, but like it's weird because like the movie kind of goes, it just covers a lot of bases, which is part of what makes it very much like a play. Like it's funny, it's dark, it's heartbreaking, it gets a little like sanctimonious, I guess, but for like the first half, it feels like David Mamet presents Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, that's really good.
But then they pull the rug out from under you when like people start dying.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Yeah.
Dan, so when you were saying that you thought you were like Eddie, I thought that I'm like Mickey. But I'm probably more like Phil than I think. But in terms of
I don't think I'm like any of these guys.
Oh, no.
There's a like aspect of Eddie that exists in me, but these guys are fucking losers. I mean, they're just losers. They're losers who have high-paying jobs.
They're losers.
That's cool and everything, and I get that. Like they're, they get all the cocaine and pussy in the world they want, and good for them. And like,
but they still have roommates.
Yeah,
that too. That's definitely was like, oh man, you got a fucking roommate. How cool is your life? But I mean, the whole like way, like I would never want to live in an existence where I spoke in these bizarre canned, lines that they deliver, which I think is a conscious choice. I don't think it's poor writing on Rabe's part. I think he wants them to talk like they think they're the star of some fucking soap opera.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. They're these LA movie people, but they're not actors, except for Phil, kind of.
Sorry.
But it's like they're so in that world that even people who aren't performers per se, they carry themselves like they're on camera constantly.
Well, because they're doing blow the whole time. Which is that's the whole fucking point, is like they're on fucking blow. So everything is like, remember, you'd be talking to somebody on blow, just like, it's like, we're going to go tomorrow. We're renting a boat and we're going to row 17 miles out to, this fucking island over there and just chill.
What I'm like on coke.
What?
It's not anything like what I'm like on coke.
Oh no. Yeah. I mean, I'm the
quiet guy. I don't say a word for hours. I just stand there and like watch people. Like, I mean, I don't do tons of, I don't do any drugs, really, but yeah, I mean, I don't do coke anymore. I've done coke like 4 times in my life, but every time it's like I'm the guy in the corner at the party at the meme. Like, none of them know I'm on coke right now.
No, it's like I on weed I do that, and kind of like when I get drunk I kind of do that, and then on but on coke or on MDMA or any kind of stimulant I start like, and
I know people do that. And yeah, I mean, there's so much cocaine in this movie, like that can't be, unrelated either. I mean, I think that like this work should definitely be considered as everything that's in there is something David Rabe put there on purpose. It's not just that he tripped on his dick and, the bit is in there. Like that's not how that man works. And so I think that the corny dialogue, it's corny. It's there. You're not imagining it. It's not that it's theater kid dialogue. It's that David Rabe wants these people to sound like self-indulgent cunts.
Yeah.
Well, man, that's the song. That's the song. That's the song of the 90s. Like as much as I mean, and I'm not dissing the 90s as a decade because there are so many movies from that decade that I love. But in terms of film, the 90s was the peak decade of like contrived, self-impressed dialogue.
Yeah. What, you think that it's worse than now?
Oh yeah, because now, like, I guess people now that there's like a message behind it or whatever. But in the 90s, it was all about people sounding so intelligent and insightful.
Well, it's kind of different because you have like now is more propaganda.
Yeah.
Coming out of the mouth. Whereas in the 90s, it's like word vomit.
And the people writing now are less intelligent than the people who were writing in the 90s.
Yeah. And the people, they're like, yeah.
So and also I don't really watch anything new, so I don't have the frame of reference.
So you're like, I mean, it's like the dialogue now is absolutely contrived, but what you're saying is more of like a sort of pretentiousness in the sound of their own voice. Like how they talk about Tarantino, how like every character is just Tarantino talking to himself, that kind of thing. Like I think that was pretty popular.
But it was him. Dialogue. It was Tarantino did it. You see it in this movie. Kevin Smith did it. You saw it on even like the TV shows and shit. Well,
like Get Shorty's kind of like that too. Yeah. Bit. Just like it's talk heavy, which I like though. I mean, if it's gonna be that, I like it. I think it's funny. To me, my favorite, I guess, Tarantino movie would probably be Pulp Fiction, because I just like that it's like this guy's fucking head. You're in his head. You're in this 50s wax museum with a pulse, like he says. But it's like that's what he wants the world to look like. So you're just like in this dude's little world that he imagined, where his hero, like his favorite actors, have hair. Like everyone's wearing wigs and shit. Yeah. You're just living in this fake version of this guy's like fucking psychosis.
The way I kind of interpret this, the play and the film, I guess, is that it's really just Eddie and his friends are just different aspects of his ego. Okay. Which is just sort of the way I think a lot of plays are written and thought of. Mm. And I don't think that's the way you're actually supposed to watch it, but it's a way that I like to kind of think about it. It's that like Mickey is that aspect of his ego that's kind of like hypercritical and cynical, and Phil is sort of like that, like the id or something, or impulsive. Exactly.
Violent, physically violent, stupid, kind of doesn't care about reputation or anything.
And Artie's like the anxiety or something like that.
I did on this, maybe because I was just so fucking high, but on this go through, when I was watching Gary Shandling, the first instance I was like, what the fuck is he doing in this? And then I'm watching, I'm like, I think it's so funny that they got Gary Shandling to do this, because
has he been in any other movies?
He's so off. He's so like positive, trying to put two positive charges together. It's just like, it's not. But the way that he talks about the piece of ass and everything is so funny to me that it's like he does in a way remind me of like he, you know, and it's not hidden. Like he's the Jewish guy of the group, right? He's supposed to be like, you know, he's, hey, and they even rile him up. There's a moment where Mickey calls him a Jew.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie's like says something, and Mickey goes, "That's because he's a Jew." And the way that Artie looks when he says it, he's like, "What the fuck?" You know. And then they do it again, and he's like getting all creeped out that they're saying Jew around him. I don't know. I thought it was a weird. It was such a weird. I wanted to kind of see him more because he was just so squirmy and uncomfortable in it. I thought it was, you know.
It's weird because it's in a way it's like casting like Jay Leno or David Letterman in a film, even though like the Larry Sanders Show wasn't. It was like a TV show about being a late night host.
Yeah,
it's still. I feel like it has that same effect in the '90s. Like when you're watching that, you're like, this is the guy from that thing.
And it also has to do with his range as an actor is the thing. Like Tom Cruise is the like avatar of this. It's Tom Cruise cannot be anything but Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Any movie you've ever seen Tom Cruise in, all you see is Tom Cruise. Now there's some actors, not Tom Cruise, but like Harvey Keitel. Harvey Keitel's money, but like he plays the same fucking character in every movie. You know, like he does it the same way. William H. Macy does it. It's part of it's just that that's their training.
Morgan Freeman, like, John Cusack, they're personality actors.
But there's also like, I mean, in Keitel's case, like I don't think it's that it's just who he is. I think it's that like he went to the school of acting that says you don't lose 60 pounds, you just act, you just read the script. Like there's nothing to fucking do, Junior. You just get up and read your lines. I mean, there's a whole New York school of theater actor that doesn't give a shit about your motivation. They just think you read the lines and that's it.
That's Mamet's school.
Right. So like, you know, with Keitel, like it's not, like it's just, it's probably on purpose, but there's tons of people that it's, you know, Tom Cruise is the best example. It's not on purpose. It's just that he can't fucking act. And like, I don't think that, you know, I wouldn't go so far as to say Gary Shandling can't act, but I do think this is outside his range as an actor. And I know there's one other movie that I've seen that was some kind of super serious, heavy film that had Gary Shandling in it. And I can't remember it, but I think that if I recall correctly, like vaguely remembering this half memory that like, I think my reaction to it was the opposite, that I was like, wow, Gary Shandling was really good in that. So it could just be this film, but like, yeah, Gary Shandling is just like total blinking pink neon sign that says I'm Gary Shandling through this whole fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
At no point do I believe he's Artie. At no point do I feel like I'm looking at Artie.
Well, the original Artie was Jerry Stiller.
I don't know that Jerry Stiller could get me to believe in Artie either.
He's too big. Yeah. Like thanks to Seinfeld, I'm just looking at, you know, George's dad.
Yeah. I'm wondering.
This would have been before that.
Ben Stiller, I think probably would be really good at it.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller, I would totally.
Oh, dude, good call. Yeah, was that movie Permanent Midnight? Remember that movie?
Yeah. That movie was fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he's the director too, Ben Stiller.
So Dan, I know you've traveled through Los Angeles. I've spent some time there. Anthony, Trevor, have you guys ever lived in LA or had extended visits?
I've lived there a couple times actually.
I lived there.
Okay. All right. So we've all been through there. In your experience, did you ever approach anything like this? Or did you come across people like this or rub shoulders with this sort of atmosphere?
I did.
Very, very, very tangentially.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very tangentially. I have been to like events for movies and stuff where I had to encounter people from the industry, but I never worked in the industry. But I would kind of encounter them. And do you remember the Thing remake that came out? Remake / prequel,
Yeah.
whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
I was at an event for that and wandered into the wrong room and got looked at like I was an insect. That's like my main memory of, you know, encountering these people kind of firsthand. More the story is what's her name on the couch. Because
Anna Paquin?
Yeah, that I encountered a lot. And I don't mean, you know, Gary Shandling dropping pussy off at my apartment. I just mean like the whole kind of there's various levels of kind of Los Angeles wastrel. And
yeah,
she does a solid job of the, you know, bouncing from couch to couch one. There's also the guy who was in a punk band in the 80s and they used this song in a commercial, and you know, now he's living that dream on 35K a year royalty, and you know, constantly DJing and self-promoting and doing events, and no one knows or gives a shit who he is. But she's an interesting character for a few reasons. I mean, she is kind of this intrusion of the squalor of Los Angeles into their lives that we don't really see any other place in this. And she is very kind to everyone throughout. And there's this kind of like way that she's presented where you're supposed to question her. And I don't know that she's a babe in the woods by any stretch of the imagination, but that final scene, the part of it that stuck with me is when she says something like, because it's so nice when people understand each other. Isn't that what we're talking about right now? And like, that is maybe the only kind act in the entire film, is her saying that to him. Because these are nasty people. I mean, they're very, very nasty people. They're not nice people. None of them are. None of them are good people. I'm not suggesting that they should be. I'm just pointing out that they're not. And the one kind of act of kindness in this film is her taking the time to try and give Eddie a little something in the way of connection. It's not even comfort really that she's offering him. She's just kind of like putting her hand out and saying, I'm here, and you know, we can talk and maybe we can understand each other. And I found it to be really powerful. You know, I totally like, and this is a perfect like example of how I've grown as a person since seeing this the first time, is that like that made fucking no impression on me the first time that I saw it. None at all. It's like it wasn't in the movie. And this time it was like, no, this is the important part of the film right here. You know, this is it. This is where all this kind of like narcissistic bullshit and the cocaine use and treating women like shit and like treating your friends like shit and, you know, keeping guys around that you aren't really your fucking friends because you can look down on them and have somebody to look down on, and all that kind of shit. It evaporates. It's gone. You know, it's like, you forget about that. You forget that Eddie's that person in that moment. And you just see these two people like having this moment of connection. And it's great because it takes you out of, you know, there's no kind of, for me anyway, there was no kind of like, well, you know, but tomorrow morning when they wake up, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, no, like they just have this moment, and it's nice and it's enough. And it provides some kind of like, I don't know. It's a better play because it's a better play. It's a better film because it's in there. because it's any human being on earth. The college campuses and coffee shops around the world are filled with these surly little pricks who think that they can just like celebrate human misery, and that makes them very dark and interesting. And in fact, it fucking doesn't. What does make you smart and interesting is when you can say something interesting about all of it. You don't have to give me a fucking silver lining. You don't have to give me a happy ending. You got to say something interesting. You can't just drop me in a world of shit and provide absolutely no fucking comment on it. That is the mark of an artistic adolescent. The mark of a mature artist is that they can make you think about this and not just kind of go, fuck you, here's a bunch of shit and deal with that. Can you handle it? Kind of like, thing. And I think that like, really deepens my appreciation for this as a work of art, that's in there, and that there's something more to this than just this kind of like, Jerry Springer episode about casting directors.
Yeah. And you said blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Did I say blah, blah, blah?
You did. You said Rapatita at the top. And then you went into an entire, Eddie monologue. You know what I mean? Like you went into and it was like, oh, this is great. Like it went and it was great. So I could see that, you know what I'm saying? And in terms of, so like the personality wise, in terms of like that was amazing. That
well,
thing
from the Northeast, so we all like to fucking speak at length, I mean, that's the thing, is like, it's almost like these people are like, it's like a New Yorker's idea of what people in LA talk like.
Absolutely.
People in LA don't talk like people in New York, just way more narcissistic. Like the whole blah, 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 chat. Like, yeah, there's cocaine being done, but this is such a like New York way of existing.
Mm-hmm. But that ending to me was the same thing. It was like when he turns around and talks to her and he just says, I don't think I'll ever sleep again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's, kind of, they're comforting and they're looking at each other and they both know that, like, she's like, do you want to fuck me before I go to sleep, Eddie? And he's just like, no, I'm okay. And she's like, okay, good. Okay, well, I'm just gonna go to sleep then. And it's like they're looking and they're acknowledging like how fucked up life is, and life is, and they're just at this little moment talking about something real, and just like looking at each other, kind of treating each other as human beings, even though, like you were saying, like the next day, sure, they're not gonna. It's a fleeting moment, but
biodegradable moment.
Yeah, biodegradable moment.
Yeah. well, and that's what's so. I mean, that's the kind of whole movie, is that Eddie is this superficial person being thrust against the fundamental.
Yeah,
and he has this. He's encountering this fundamental desire to matter and to love and be loved, and he doesn't have the equipment for it,
but he does like care.
Yes.
When he's talking to Phil about his fucking life, and he enters a store, he's like, I'm sorry, no, I'm not mad at you, this is when I get excited, sometimes I'm really angry, sometimes I sound angry, and he's like, he's really feeling this way. And just being like, oh God, like he can't take he's sort of like, he's getting too caught up in Phil's story. He's getting really angry by it. But in the first part of it, it's like, wait, what did she say about me? What did she say about me? You're talking about this really serious thing going on in your relationship, but like, when did she say that she hates me? Well, maybe it's like not me that she hates. Maybe she just hates men. That's what it is. Because she hates you and she hates me. So she hates men. But then when you get to the baby part, he's like freaking out. He's like, don't fucking do it. Because, well, then you find out later that he's a father as well. So I don't know if that's some sort of projection going on there. But he's like, I don't know. That when he got really excited about Phil having a kid, it's kind of like, yeah, he keeps these guys around because they're lackeys, and he'll never be on top of him. And at the same time, he's kind of getting caught up in his in Phil's, like, I don't know, it's like that shit just weighs on you. Like, you can't do stuff like that and just like not have it affect you. I don't know.
Well, because Phil, for all his faults, he's impulsive and he's a man of action. And Eddie is neurotic. He overthinks everything.
Yeah. And
so that's a big part of why he keeps Phil around, because for all Phil's faults, Phil has qualities that Eddie admires and wants to embrace and create in himself. Because if Phil had this gal who was sleeping with his friend, Phil would fucking go over there and kick his friend's ass and take the girl. And that's what Eddie wants to do, but he doesn't have the guts for it.
And almost like Eddie, when Phil's around, he gets a little more like confrontational with Mickey.
Mm-hmm.
Because
he finds his courage.
Because he knows that they don't like each other too. So he knows that, like, well, Phil will fuck you up. I mean, Phil does, right? He tells him, like, no, this isn't for you. This is not for you.
Well, and so this is kind of skipping ahead, but that scene. So this movie has a lot for as theatery and contrived as a lot of it is. There are some scenes that really cut into some serious, just like male truth. That scene where Sean Penn's fucked up on coke, and he's basically telling Chaz Palminteri, he's telling Phil that he doesn't like him and he's a fuck up and he's sick of him, and like he's slapping him around, and like in one wrong word and Chaz is gonna break his fucking neck. I've never done coke, but I had a few years of like very hard, irresponsible drinking, and like that razor's edge separating two friends between like rampant violence. I've been in that moment, and like that scene, that really struck something in me.
There isn't until what is it? It at a certain point, like I like that part, and then at a certain point, he just becomes I Am Sam. He's like, you don't know what I'm saying, and you don't do it for me, and he's like,
it's very actory.
It's very, and he's, and I thought about Sean Penn, and I'm thinking about his career.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he almost always plays these like beaten men, just constantly getting beaten. Like he's even the Spicoli. He's constantly, Mr. Hand is constantly fucking there, just fucking with him. And then, and then you get to, and then Dan, you were on the Elroy Boys talking about U-Turn, and he's getting his fucking fingers chopped off, and he's,
oh God, that movie's so fucked up.
He's so fucked up. And this movie, he's crying the whole time. And I remember when Sean Penn got up for the Academy Award, and then all the trailers for Mystic River just showed him doing that shot, and he was like, "Oh God, no!" Oh! And remember, he's screaming. He's always doing these weird high-pitched screams and portraying these beaten down, retarded men. I was like, what has he, like, if you compare his career to Steve McQueen's, there's no, high-speed chase.
Well, the difference is that Steve McQueen didn't go to the fucking actor's studio. or Juilliard or wherever. Like, all right, so I'll come clean. I like Sean Penn.
Yes, I do too.
Now, as a person, his politics, I'm not going to get into that. I don't care about that. I do my best to separate the art from the artist. But I enjoy a lot of Sean Penn films. I enjoy a lot of his performances. What I find so interesting about him is that he is, I mean, you know, not so much in this film, but on average, like Sean Penn is a pretty jacked dude. But he's like this jacked dude who's short and has this high flat voice. And as a high flat voice man, I relate to that a lot. And so, but yeah, so he often plays these like pathetic worms, but at the same time, he's got these like muscles.
I know. Yeah, that's what I mean. He's
It's
totally
so-
jacked. He could just fuck everybody up, and he's just constantly being like a victim.
Yeah, it's just he's so peculiar, I guess, and
Yeah.
that's why I find him so fascinating and interesting.
Well,
And like
yeah.
one of my, he's great in State of Grace. One of my favorite movies that he's in is At Close Range. You guys ever seen that?
Yeah, is that with Christopher Walken?
Yeah. That's when he's super young.
Is that the movie that Madonna made the song for?
Yes.
I learned my lesson well. Hope I
Mhm.
live to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I love Sean Penn, but now I'm looking at him like he's just getting his fucking ass kicked in every movie he's in.
Yeah. Well, but that's because like I feel like because of the environment. So like Sean Penn, if he had taken a different road in his life, Sean Penn would have been a Chad. But because he went to like the actor studio or wherever, and because he decided he wanted to be a communist, he's the man that he is today. But like there's something in him. Even if you watch interviews with him, like there's a violence in that man.
Yes.
There is a darkness in his soul. And I think he gravitated toward acting because he saw that as like a healthy way to express it. But like, if he made different choices in his life, that man could have been a savage.
I mean, he was always getting in trouble for like punching fucking cameramen and like
Madonna.
Yeah, didn't he tied Madonna in the chair
all
to beat
kinds
up?
of shit about him.
Yeah, he beat
and,
the
like,
shit out of Madonna.
Yeah, which I mean, hey, who could blame him?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Well,
I'm just jealous.
These are jokes, people.
I wonder if she wrote the song before or after.
Definitely
Yes.
before.
Because if she wrote it after, then you're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Are you just fucking getting yourself involved in this shit so you can just, you're some kind of proto Taylor Swift writing songs about your, like Patsy Cline or something, right? Wasn't Patsy Cline? She was getting beat up all the time. She's like, crazy. I'm crazy.
Willie Nelson wrote that.
Oh, that Willie.
Willie Nelson wrote that?
Yeah.
No,
really?
Listen,
Willie Nelson
Dude, they didn't let
was
singers
probably
write
getting
songs
beaten
back
up
then.
too.
no, look.
5'8". Sean Penn
Sean
is
Penn-
5'8".
Yeah, he's 5'8", so of course he's going to beat women. And Madonna, yeah. And look, I haven't hit a woman yet. I wouldn't unless she attacked me. But I mean, Madonna, come on.
Madonna. Well,
It's Madonna.
He was. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
He's just such a like. In this movie in particular, he's just such a shrieking mess.
Slinky. Who reminds me of is Ryan Gosling.
So all right, I can see that, but like,
He's got a Ryan Gosling thing.
yeah.
He is Ryan Gosling, yeah.
But so, okay.
He's also like Mr. Actors Studio, blah blah blah, which I said on purpose that time.
Rapatita.
But so here's the difference.
I just want to do that. I want to do that in real life.
Ryan Gosling knows that he's a dork.
Yeah, but he chose to be the Chad, like in the Blade Runner shit.
But I mean, but who wouldn't? But Sean Penn doesn't think he's a dork. Sean Penn thinks he's great.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
He thinks he's a badass.
And that's why Gosling is so much more likable.
Yeah, Gosling should
Gosling has an affability that like Sean Penn doesn't, because he has that kind of like there's a weird kind of self-deprecating quality to like everything Ryan Gosling does.
Yeah. And Sean Penn is so serious.
Well, Ryan
takes himself so seriously. He's so fucking humorless.
Ryan Gosling is like, he's very well aware that he was in the Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah, and that he was young Hercules on UPN.
And he got kicked out of schools because he beat kids up who would fucking mention it.
Yeah.
So he was like a bully in school and had to like, but it's yeah.
I just want to know how a Canadian got a Brooklyn accent.
Yeah, dude, he worked on that. Just like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. All of a sudden, he started talking like this. Like, dude, you don't talk like that, man. I mean, people don't talk like that. They don't talk like that anywhere. They're just talking like this now. It's very weird, dude. It's super weird. It's so weird and fake, and it's almost like British people when they do American voices.
Yeah,
they just talk like this. I can never. It breaks my shit. It breaks it. But talking about voices, Kevin Spacey in this movie is like, I figured it out. He's kind of doing like a gay guy trying to be straight, and he just does it well.
Well, and he's like a 40s actress.
He does have a very feminine energy about him. I will say that.
But classical, because he's like, "Hey there, Buster.
He's
Let
like,
me tell you something about this.
What do you mean, Dan?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I'm not effeminate. I'll kick your ass."
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what?
He like saunters into the room.
But it is like you say, it's like it's the same kind of feminine energy that like Gloria Stanwyck or Barbara Stanwyck has in Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
And that's probably not accidental either.
Right.
I'm sure that he's like super into her. So but it's just funny because like it's there but remember, he wasn't out then.
No,
and I don't even know to what degree the rumors had really started about him. I mean, I'm sure like people in Hollywood knew, but did fucking People magazine know? Like that. I don't. In '98, did the average People magazine reader know anything about Kevin Spacey's personal life?
I know. Well, I know that. I don't know when American Beauty came out, but I knew that at that time people did, because my mother told me. My mom. I remember I watched that movie with them, and then we watched the Oscars together. And he won the Oscar. And I was like, as a young kid, because I wanted to be an actor since I was a kid. I wanted to be like Macaulay Culkin and Michael J. Fox and, Luke Skywalker, Mark, like I wanted to do that from a very young age. And so when Kevin Spacey won, I was like, wow, he's a great actor. And my mom was like, he is. Yeah, he's very good. He's like, it's so strange that he's gay and he can play a straight. I was like, I was like, what? And I was like, maybe 12, 13 years old. I was like, what do you mean he's gay? And she's like, yeah, oh, he's gay. Yeah, he's gay. And I remember that fucked me up. I was like, I can't watch that movie anymore because I don't believe it anymore. Now I don't believe it. It's the same thing with like British actors. If I know that the guy's British or Australian or something and they're doing American accent, I'm like, this doesn't work for me anymore. I know. I can see every shit.
Jack, my friend Jack, the Perfume Nationalist, which I'm probably the only person who still thinks that saying that is funny. But anyway, he is my friend and one of my best friends actually. And he says that film is a he thinks it's a gay movie. And I don't agree, but I think his reading is there. I think his reading
American Beauty.
Very much there to be seen. Yeah, like the film is really about the same-sex desire centered around the son of the cartoonish closeted gay man living next door. That's the romantic energy in the film. I mean, for me, it's just like a really good movie about being middle-aged and kind of fucked up. But I think that his reading is like, you know, I don't think it's not there.
Right.
And especially because of like how, you know, I mean, what's her name that brought the not Thor Birch, the other one from that movie,
Mina Suvari.
Yeah. I mean, she's built like a fucking chorus. I mean, she's just not not like a very womanly figure at all.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's like, you know, I don't think Kevin Spacey really had to dig too deep to play a straight man in that role, regardless of kind of how you read that movie. I mean, there's definitely like that energy on that movie. And it's interesting because with Spacey, it's like, you know, do you look back on his body of work and project that onto it under the rules of you know, bridge builders and dick suckers, where like you build 1,000 bridges and you suck a dick and you're a dick sucker for the rest of your life? Are you just like projecting that onto his work, or is it there? I think it's probably there.
Well, and all these are alleged. This is all alleged speculation. Nothing's been proven because the people who spoke out against him have all miraculously been killed.
Well, he's out now, isn't he? I mean, he's like openly, because he came out because of that. It was so weird.
He came out in the wake of that guy from Adventures in Babysitting saying that he like touched him when he was 14 or whatever.
Oh, as Adam Rapp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I basically like universally don't believe Me Too accusations of
same
whatsoever. So
same
how I felt about, and I felt that way since they started with Weinstein. Like, and I'm very proud to early on been like, this is a fucking witch hunt. This is absolute witch hunt. But Spacey, I think that like feminine energy that we're seeing in this film, I would love to watch his other movies and see if it's there. And my guess is it is. And my guess is that we're not making a bridge builder into a dick sucker. That he is probably very, very deeply influenced by classic era Hollywood female actors. And he, you know, interprets them in his way, I think is probably what we're seeing there. And, you know, this is no like, I'm not calling him a fucking Mary because he's into female actors from the golden era. It's just like, you know, gay dudes are into old silent and golden era actresses. This is not like, you know, if you're outraged by this, the gay guys, you know, are really boring.
I would say my experience is that it's like it's both. I think that the industry does basically make it so that, you know, how the quote goes, like they'll let you touch them. You know, they'll let you touch them in the pussy. It's like, that's how it is.
That's the old adage.
That's the old adage.
The old adage.
That's what they told me. They told me when I got off the bus.
The old adage. And hey, a more brilliant mind couldn't have spoken it better. I do that. That is what it is. And in that, what I've seen personally is like, oh, okay, it is, and it's still like that, and it'll never not be like that. But what is manufactured is the financial shit. They go like, okay, we just signed a deal with this guy for $7 million, maybe $17 million. First look deal. So you're a big television network. You signed this deal in 2017. Well, in 2017, you didn't know that coronavirus was going to fucking happen and everything was going to shut the fuck down. So you couldn't film your shows anymore. Now everybody's like watching Netflix, they're watching Amazon, they're watching all this shit. So now you come back and it's like people have their subscriptions. A lot more people are unplugging. Now that $17 million deal you signed with this guy, that's too much fucking money. We got to cut costs here. Oh, well, the guy's a fucking pussy hound. Oh, well, maybe one of them has a problem with it or something. And then that shit happens. You know what I'm saying? It's very like, I think it's kind of like this both ways where it's like, they don't like, they use it. That type of behavior is allowed universally, but if you do it and people see you do it, when the fucking checks come, to start printing, they're going to be like, well, this guy costs too much here. I think we can kind of, you know
sure.
What I mean?
No, I mean, when the whole thing, especially with Weinstein first kicked up, there was zero conversation about who took the deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's no talk about how he's like, listen, I run this studio. You can walk out of here right now and you won't get a part in this film, but good luck to you. You can audition for other things. Or you can do some creepy sex shit with me right now and I'll make you a star. And then they were like, yeah, that's good. I'll do that.
And then 25 years later, it was politically advantageous to denounce
to throw him under the bus.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying
everybody knows that this is how Hollywood works. Ashley Judd is not a fucking coal miner's wife in Appalachia. Like,
right.
This is not like, that's how they want you to think of it, is like, the coal boss is coming for your fucking virgin daughter or something.
No, look, I will quote 8mm. You dance with the devil don't change. The devil. Did
Nicolas Cage say that?
No, Joaquin Phoenix said it.
Oh, that's good too. Yeah.
I engaged in a transactional sexual relationship. Oh, well, I knew you were a fucking actress, so like, this isn't news to me.
Yeah, right. and that's like
shouldn't have been news to you.
What was that? That was a Mamet play too. There was that Mamet play that he did. He did Speed the Plow, which is kind of like what we're talking about. But there was another one. Was it Oleana? I think it was so. Oleana. Where it's about the college girl with the professor or whatever. Is that what it was? Yeah. It's the same. It's just, but and he was writing about that like in the 80s and 90s too. So it's like, I don't know. It's crazy how it's been. How far it's gone to where you can't even get a DVD or Blu-ray of this movie. If you have a DVD player, you can get Hurly Burly. I used my PlayStation 4, but it doesn't use DVDs. I don't know. The DVD I bought, they won't, and you can't stream it anywhere. But it's for free on YouTube.
I went looking for it. Okay, shit. I didn't check YouTube. Maybe I should have. But
I thought I group texted that.
You might have. I might have missed it. But I knew there's a place near me that has a lot of used DVDs. And I went in there and looked for it. They've got a good selection. And it's weird because I didn't know anything about the movie, but I was like, it's probably a drama or a comedy. I went to drama. They didn't have it. I went to comedy. They didn't have it. And I was like, I know it's not an action movie, but I'm going to check the action section. Fucking sure enough, it was right there for $5.95.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. With a little fold out one.
Oh yeah. No, it's got the little black lip, that you click open and pull it up. Oh yeah. But I mean, it works like a dream.
It must have been from that big car chase scene where they were following each other and talking on their cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought Meg Ryan. she's not a very good actress, but she's really hot.
Well,
she's hot. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think she's a bad actress per se. I don't think she's exceptional or anything. She's got a very cute face and a great rack. I'll definitely give her that. But yeah, I think she's very miscast in this movie. I honestly feel like Joey Lauren Adams should have been in that role, but she was probably busy making like Chasing Amy or some shit.
She would have been really good in that. I mean, she's like almost too on the nose for that role.
Because like Meg Ryan in that role feels like Julia Roberts or something. You know, she's too nice,
too
she's
pretty.
She's too glamorous, she's too clean.
Yeah. I thought Phil could have been played by fucking Tony Soprano. I thought that would have been
wasn't it Harvey Keitel originally?
It was Harvey Keitel originally, and I could totally see James Gandolfini's being all fucking, hey, what are you talking about? What, Chaz Palminteri is interesting though. I mean, because he still works, but it's like he's interesting because he writes. He's a writer, right? He wrote Bronx Tale. He's written other things, but he seems so stupid. He just seems really stupid.
That was his job.
Did you guys? All right, so I'm not trying to offend anyone here, but did you guys ever watch Boardwalk Empire?
Yeah.
There's a scene. I think it's in season 1 where Steve Buscemi, he's talking to one of his lackeys and they just got robbed by an Italian kid. And the lackey is describing the scene and he's like, I mean, I don't know what the kid looks like. He had a Dago look. And then Buscemi goes, what does that mean? And he goes, feeble-minded. No offense to all of my Italian friends. I'm circling back to the beginning. I've never been to Italy. I want to go so bad because I'm in love with Claudia Cardinal, and I hope I can find her youthful reincarnation there one day.
I have Southern Italian ancestry.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, Cisco, I would imagine.
Italian and Irish. So
don't we all?
There's no.
Not me. I'm white.
Yeah,
good for you.
I'm white too. I mean, there's no. I don't. I think that'd be weird if people, even Italians, are like, yeah, we're fucking like whatever.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah. There's no pride. There's no pride going on over there. It's all shame.
That's a shame.
Shame. Wait. So James Gandolfini, I thought could have been played it could interchangeable. Yeah. And then I thought that was interesting that the cast was so Parker Posey played Meg Ryan in this like revival.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'd love to see her doing that.
Yeah, because she's so great at being a hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I thought of Bobby Cannavale. I was watching Chaz Palminteri. I was watching Chaz Palminteri. I was like, this is who Bobby Cannavale wishes he was. Because Bobby Cannavale is a fucking idiot. And he's like a real but he thinks he's smarter than he is. He's always like, he's very I was working on a set with him and he's just very pompous. He's a very pompous guy. I mean, he's 6'5", so he's a really tall Italian guy, but he looks very, as you said, sort of like dumb. He's kind of dim. And he also played Phil in the revival of the show.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think it could work. I think he would be good at it. He's better when he plays to his role. But they don't really do those roles anymore. They've stopped doing the Italian guy thing, really.
Like thug.
Yeah, or just straight up, just this is the Italian guy. Remember remember what was that? Once Upon a Time in America.
Yeah.
And it was like they got the Italian guys like Joe Pesci, and they got fucking what's his name from Rocky. Those are the Italian guys, you know.
Yeah,
you don't see guys like that anymore.
Burt Young.
Burt Young, yes, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Is he even Italian? Is he Jewish? Is he like Armenian or something?
Well, I mean,
he's probably.
Let's not kid ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves.
Me.
You know, as far as ethnicities goes,
Burt Young.
I feel like Jews and Italians have the most overlap in the Venn
They're
diagram.
interchangeable.
Yeah.
The saying goes that Italians are Jews, but they're just so stupid that they forgot.
No, Italians Italians are just the Jews who like threw in with Christ.
Yeah. But they forgot that they were that Jesus was Jewish.
Could be.
I don't know.
Yeah. I always I mean I know Rocky's the more famous movie, but I always think of Burt Young as the limo driver in Back to School.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got a problem? No, I don't have a problem. Now you do. And he crushes the napkin dispenser in his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got two sons. I put one through college. I put the other through a wall.
Lou,
Burt Young's the best.
Yeah. You don't see types like that anymore. Christopher. So the original Broadway cast was Sigourney Weaver as Darlene, William Hurt as Eddie, Christopher Walken as Mickey, Harvey Keitel as Phil. And then a young Christina, what's her name? The one who ran for governor of New York.
Cynthia Nixon.
There you go. Wow. She played the little, what's her name? The little girl.
Anna Paquin.
Donna.
Yeah.
Donna?
I don't remember her character's name, but so the Anna Paquin character.
I wrote them all down.
Anna Paquin in this movie, particularly in that final scene, like I appreciate the importance of that final scene, but Anna Paquin's dialogue in that final scene is so clearly written by like a fucking New York theater guy in his 50s.
Well, all the women in this are prime example of men who write women as men with tits.
Yes.
Ideal matters what you mean in your like first year theater class that the irritating feminist will bitch about. But these are men with tits.
Yeah.
There's nothing female about, and even Darlene is who's the most female of all of them, is just like, she's nasty, she's bad, she's horrible. She's this fucking golem of reasons to hate women. None of these women are fully formed characters at all. Mm-mm. They're fuck bags. That's it. They're there to be fuck bags for these guys, and to give them a sounding board to do their little fucking monologues off of. I'm not morally troubled by this or anything. That's totally going on in this.
No, it's true. The most complex thing about them is maybe they want to fuck a second guy.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this about Robin Penn's character just real quick. The scene where it's like the midpoint in the movie where she's with Sean Penn still, but she comes over to visit, and Sean Penn's in the shower or whatever, and she's out in the living room talking with Kevin Spacey. And they're palling around, and you can tell she just digs him. And she does that shit where she bites her lower lip.
Yeah.
Oh, that fucking drove me nuts. Because no, that's just such a palpable, ugly feeling of when you can tell that when someone's gone cold to you and they're lit up by someone else.
Oof.
Ugh.
They do
Hated
a
it.
really good job of conveying that feeling in this.
They did a great job. That's why it was so fucking miserable to watch.
Yeah.
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 So I would love to, with you guys, cast this movie.
So like a modern day remake.
Yeah. So that's like, the ground rules for it are they have to be age appropriate and like working today, kind of same deal. Like,
Okay.
somebody who hasn't worked in a few years, I don't really give a shit. But if it's like Ronald Reagan can't be your choice for Mickey.
Right.
But
No one dead.
Can I throw in a
age appropriate casting?
Can I throw in a rule?
Yeah.
You guys might veto this, but I want to float it. No English people.
I'm for it.
They gotta be American.
Yeah.
Look. I honestly I make jokes. I don't have anything against Anglos as a species or whatever, but I'm fucking sick of seeing these androgynous little 140-pound English people playing American icons. I'm sick of it. I don't want it anymore. I miss the good old days when you had Kevin Costner with a Wyoming accent playing Robin Hood. That is what I want.
I'm for it.
I'm here.
These little British guys wearing their 38 jackets.
I will say
American
and or Canadian.
I was gonna say Americans, but Canadians are American.
Canadians are basically Americans. Yeah.
Canadians, they are Americans.
What about an Australian?
No
Australian. No.
They do. They
fake an American accent.
Yeah, Australians are just redneck British.
Yeah, but that's why they do American better. They do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Do
They're
American
better at it than the Brits.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like
English
Australians should be allowed.
His monologue at the end without cracking back into British.
Yeah.
Because that's when they all lose, is when they start yelling. They can't
yell
American.
I think Joaquin Phoenix is Eddie.
I could take that. He might be a little old now, but I could see it.
I was gonna say Robert Pattinson.
Robert
British,
Pattinson.
goddamn you.
Is he?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like him a lot too, but I would.
I like him, but he was in Harry Potter. I don't want him.
He's British?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I would put Joaquin Phoenix as Mickey.
Interesting. That would be a stretch for Joaquin.
I would have to Gosling as Eddie and him as Mickey.
I could see that. I didn't think about this at all going into it. Shit, I wish I'd known we were going to do this. Okay.
I could see Ryan Reynolds as Mickey as well.
Here's the problem there.
What?
Is that I don't buy that a girl is going to stop talking to Ryan Gosling and go fuck Joaquin Phoenix.
Right. I could see the other way around.
Well, I think I could definitely see that, but that's a fair objection. I don't think Ryan Reynolds.
I hate Ryan Reynolds. I don't want him in this movie.
Maybe a decent Mickey. What's his name? Is the guy I'm trying.
Ryan Reynolds is a terrible actor. I
hate him.
He is bad. He is bad.
Okay, how about this? How about
Timothy Chalamet?
No, get out of here.
I think I got a good.
No. All right, how about Ryan Gosling as Eddie? Or maybe these roles could be interchangeable. What about Gyllenhaal?
Oh, good call.
Because
I think he would be a better. I think he might be a better Eddie.
I could see him as Eddie or Mickey.
I hate him, and I think he is such a pussy that I can't see him.
Okay, so no, this is great because Dan, I used to feel the same way. I used to hate him, not necessarily because he was a pussy. I just hated his face, but Zodiac made me appreciate him as an actor. But okay, that's fair. Fuck Gyllenhaal. We'll throw him out. I don't need
I
him.
have what I think is actually a really, really good Mickey. Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
Be like perfect.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. I do. What do you think about Tom Hardy as Phil?
Yeah, Sam Rockwell is good. Tom Hardy as Phil.
He's English.
He's English.
Oh shit!
See, this is what I have to say.
No,
This is how ubiquitous.
I think at this point,
how ubiquitous the shit is, man. I hate it.
I think Bobby Cannavale would be the.
Look,
I think he still would be the, because now he's age appropriate.
Bobby Cannavale as Phil is perfect. Rockwell as Mickey. I like it because he would make Mickey a little more puckish, a little more of like a little more antagonistic and less cold and Ice Queen like Kevin Spacey.
Yeah,
a lot of those lines with his like, you know, tongue-in-cheek, smirky kind of manner would be way better than Spacey. Yeah.
I really wish I could just have seen Christopher Walken doing Mickey. Like, what would that look like? Where he's just like
Harvey Keitel acting, because he's another one of these I just read lines guys.
Yeah.
Like Christopher Walken.
Do you not like Christopher Walken?
No, I love him. I love Harvey Keitel. He's not a Tom Cruise. He's a Harvey Keitel. He's just, that's his school of acting. There's no what motivation. You read the lines.
Right.
And that's why he deletes punctuation somewhat famously from all of his scripts. Like it's that whole like neurosis of like just read lines that he does that, Christopher Walken he's always Christopher Walken. Not in the same way Tom Cruise is always Tom Cruise, but like when's he ever played out? When have you ever seen him and been like, man, Christopher Walken was like really pushing his range on that one?
Never.
I mean, honestly,
never.
Never. Well, no,
Never.
but like not since the 70s or the 80s. Like
maybe.
Walken notoriously says yes to everything that's offered to him. So like, in the 70s, he did The Deer Hunter, and then in the 80s, he had like King of New York, and he had a few blips in the 90s, like Suicide Kings, but for the most of his career is just taking whatever people throw at him.
His wife was a casting director, and she casted the whole Sopranos thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I'm sure she probably helped her husband get gigs as well. Yeah, I think with the what I like about those guys is that they're the same as the British guys who are like, hey man, if you fucking are paying me, I'll whatever. Yeah, sure. Yeah. That's kind of how you have to be as an actor. Like that's the thing that people don't tell you, is that wherever the money is coming, like that's where you just go. And don't go to acting school and don't try to like, be the best. You either are going to be or you aren't. And really what you only have to do is just be really fuckable. So just be in shape and memorize your lines.
Yeah.
And that's it. You don't need to go to class or anything. You don't need to like
no, I had, when I moved out to LA, I had a couple buddies who were actors, and they would talk to me about like the classes they were going to and all like this fucking rigmarole that they were doing. And I was like, dude, this is a scam. Like,
yeah,
you're being scammed. Like, this is bullshit. What are you doing? I was like, you would be better off if you and some of your buddies just made like a fucking web series on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because you're
like the James Franco shit. They go after James Franco, and because they're like, oh, he's like, he's just trying to get pussy. He's a pussy hound. He's trying to set up an acting. That's what all acting schools are. And if you're a guy, and I'm talking from experience here, if you go to these acting classes where there's a man there, he's like not a well-known actor, or maybe he's a well-known actor. Like the whole thing is to, first of all, to not get you out of the class. They want you to keep coming to class. So you're never going to be good enough. Your acting is never going to be, you're never going to he's never going to go, this is it. You've graduated from my fucking acting class here.
Right.
And if there's hot chicks in there, he's going to fucking want to bang them. And you're nothing but some young punk, like thinking you're hot shit. you're wasting your fucking time. So like, you know, like that's, if anything I could impart to young budding actors is that don't go, you know, be like Christopher Walken, just take away the punctuation and just say, fuck it, do something weird.
Well, and also if you're a fucking whatever kind of artist you are, whether you're an actor or a painter or a singer or whatever, the greatest class is doing it.
Yeah.
Because the masters are gone. Like,
greatest class is always doing it.
But like, I know maybe it was different in like ancient Greece or whatever, but like there are no masters that you can apprentice under. There are no what's the word? Like a rich fuck who pays you to be an artist.
Patron.
Yeah, there are no patrons. So the only way you're gonna make it is to do it as a labor of love and do it the way you want to do it. And the audience will find it. And I know that's a risk. It's a gamble and it sucks because it's a fucking long con, but that's the way.
I mean, it's like those actors
for better or worse.
Yeah. It's like the musicians in the 70s, like Led Zeppelin and these guys, Kiss and shit. Bruce Springsteen, like, you know, 50,000 fucking people in one fucking place. You're never going to see that happen.
You're never going to have that.
You're never going to get there again. It's like,
that was a different point in time. It's over.
Yeah.
Like
throughout history, as an artist, you just fucking suffer and it sucks. And as some, you know, and in this thing, the thing that he says to thing that Eddie says to Phil, which is you're just fucking background.
Yeah.
You make things look off. That's what I do. That's literally what I do. I'm literally, that's what you're, a fucking location. You just make the thing look kind of authentic.
So you're Phil.
Yeah.
We've figured it out.
I'm Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
But like, but at the same time, it pays the bills.
You're better than Phil.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I
look. No, like no bullshit. And I know we've been drinking, but like, and granted, I haven't seen anything you've been in, but I heard you on. No. I heard you on Isolation Chamber, and I was like, no, I believe this. Like, he's an actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Like,
I appreciate it. But
I wasn't.
good.
I was not taken out of that by you. You know what I mean? And I feel like, so I was buddies with some theater people in high school and college, and so I wound up going to a lot of plays and like all that shit. And I watch a lot of movies, so you know, granted. People say, oh, well, you don't do a thing, so how can you judge it? Well, it's like, well, I'm not a chef, but I know when something tastes like shit.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
But like I can spot good acting from bad acting. And yeah, like just your voice in Isolation Chamber and the character you were playing, it was fucking solid. So I know you've got the thing. I don't remember what I was going with this. I've had half a bottle of rum.
No, thanks, dude. Thank you. No, thank you. But in the end, it just becomes about where the money comes, and if the money's not, you know,
but so okay. So here's where it's at. We're at the point where there is no money going to anyone of value.
Right.
So if you want it to happen, it's got to be a labor of love. You got to do it for free. And I know it sucks. I know it's not what you imagined when you were a kid and you watch fucking David Letterman or whatever, and somebody would come on and it's like, oh, what a life it would be to be a star. There are no stars anymore.
Right.
Like the sky is blacked out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So
That's why
like
it's hard to cast a modern Hurly Burly. I'm like, I don't even know.
Yeah, even the people that I would want to cast are
Stars.
technically like probably too old.
And then when you said like no Brits, you're like, okay, but there's a British Spider-Man, and then there's a British Batman,
every
Superman.
American icon is played by a British person, and this shit makes me foam at the mouth. I hate it. But I don't want to waste time on that. But
yeah, because these movies aren't made for us.
No, they're not. They're made for fucking Chinese people.
Yeah. It's like something like Hurly Burly is, and they're not just Chinese. They're made for Europeans. They're made for Brits. They're made for those movies. All come out in the UK before they even come out here. They come out like a week before they come out here. Like even the Marvel, like the fucking Avengers, the 20th movie, the big one, that came out there. That went out there first before it came here.
God, who gives a shit?
No, for real. But it's just that's just what they. That's all they do.
Hold on a minute. Let's remake Hurly Burly. Okay.
In a Marvel movie.
No. Let's remake Hurly Burly. So Anthony, you're gonna be Eddie. Dan, you're gonna be Phil.
I'm gonna be Phil.
You're gonna be Phil.
Okay.
You're gonna be the dangerous id.
Okay.
Yeah. Trevor, you're gonna be
Artie.
Gary. You're gonna be Gary Sham.
No, it makes sense. Yeah.
And
I'm the Jew of the group.
Are you Jewish?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. No, I'm kidding.
You can't tell.
And I'll be the Kevin Spacey role.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And look, and we can reach out on Twitter. We can find a couple gals who'll
The
come in.
women can be. I mean, the thing is, you'll notice when we did the casting, like the women can literally be fucking anyone.
Yeah.
It literally doesn't matter who the women. I mean, maybe Donna. But even Bonnie is like shit. Like what presence does she have in this film? She sucks dick in front of her 6-year-old daughter and gets thrown out of a car.
But that scene cut me deep.
Yeah.
It's really fucked up. I mean, and I remembered that from the movie, but like,
look, that's where the movie turns.
Gary Shandling is like asking her to go to fucking Disneyland. Like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Like, how is that? It's amazing to me that made it into the movie.
Yeah.
It wouldn't today.
No way.
Yeah, man.
That's dark. That's really dark.
It's dark. Yeah.
When Mickey's like kind of laughing and crying at the same time.
Yeah.
You can see that he's, that's some great acting, good performance there. That's like really good moment there. That's like super powerful and disturbing. And like that's what I like about this the movie and the play. Is just like it's very, very raw and honest, and I don't think you don't see it on Blu-ray, you don't see it being re-released because I think people are just like, oh, let's just forget about this thing.
It's a very singular moment in time in terms of its outward appearance, but the themes are universal. It's like I said earlier, it's when a superficial person butts up against the fundamental. And like, I mean, Hollywood loves making movies about itself.
Mm-hmm.
They like fucking La La Land or whatever.
The Player.
Yeah, but they hate when it puts a microscope under what's really going on.
Yeah.
And what's really going on is you have these vapid, insecure, lost fucking people who will believe anything if it sounds profound.
Yes.
And this movie puts a fucking spotlight on that. But it's still enjoyable. And there are moments where I was laughing my fucking ass off. Like when they're having that argument on the side of the road and Sean Penn gets the call on his car phone or whatever. And he's like, Phil's dead. And he just drives away.
Yeah.
And he leaves Robin Wright on the side of the road. I was howling laughing.
Yeah, I like the pointless dialogue to understand. Like, I love the talking around the issue.
Yeah.
Like, I love that shit. That's like how it's an extreme version of how people kind of generally talk. It's just like, you don't say you're sorry. You kind of come, you come. I'm not saying, I'm a person that does, but I have been in situations where, you can be a confrontational person, but if you're an intelligent person as well, you also see that, like, oh, not everybody operates on this level. So you can't just come up and be like, hey, this is awkward and you did this and you did that, because all of a sudden they feel attacked. So you have to think of other strategies of how to, like, approach a sensitive person or something. So you're like,
right.
You start talking about something else with them, and then it kind of gets around to that. You know what I'm saying? You sort of tenderize the meat before you go in. And I really like how this piece does that. And then when it does get honest and it does get truthful, it gets dangerous. Yeah. Because as soon as Eddie's like, to Phil, you're a fucking loser and everything you do is like disturbing to me. That's when it, other than that, he's sort of talking around like, hey, I just want you to be okay. I just want you to be okay. But I really don't like that you keep hanging around.
But like Eddie and Phil are like, if you could put them together, you would make a functioning man.
Yeah.
Like,
if it wasn't for the drugs.
Well, yeah, but like Eddie is super neurotic. He's super cerebral, and whether or not he has the clout or the intelligence to carry that, he's very much a man on his mind and a man on his he intellectualizes his emotions, whereas Phil acts. Phil feels the feeling in his gut and he headbutts a fucking 14-year-old waif on a couch or whatever, or he's like, oh, I've got this wife that I'm kind of estranged of. And instead of just divorcing her and being done with it, I had this programming that's like, nah, I need to put a baby in her and like stick with her. But
yeah, I like that he's like, if you go back to her, I will never speak to you again. We are no longer friends. And then the next thing is like, I'm gonna go back to her. It's finally happening. And he's like, I'm so happy for you.
He had, but like he has the savagery in him where he yearns for the Deadlands. Like he, Chas Palminteri's character Phil, he wants that conflict and he wants that chaos and he wants that action, but he can't help but be drawn in by this like fountain of love from his wife and his newborn baby, who he technically kidnaps and he brings to these fucking cokeheads. And he's like, look at her. Isn't she beautiful? Like even as fucked up as he is, he cannot escape this fundamental natural yearning to like be a provider. And when he realizes that he can't live up to that, that's when he drives his fucking car off Mulholland.
It's a realization of that he is a fuck up. He knows that what Eddie said was true.
Yeah, he's a mess. He's a monster, and everything about him is what's fucked up.
Yeah, and the only thing that he did well was like have a daughter, and the best thing that he could probably do for her is just fucking die. I mean, they talk about Mickey talks about that, right? That's the end thing. That's one of those translations that goes from the play to the movie as well. A lot of it is chopped up, edited, different words, kind of like inserted, taken in. But that part isn't where that kind of like last 5 pages is almost directly from the play, where it's just like where Mickey is talking about killing yourself and how it's just an instant, like slight little second of, I'm going to deviate from this path, and I'm just going to go whoop, and it's going to change. But what did you just do? What you just did was, where he kind of breaks down the whole scenario as it's just like this microcosm of a thing. It gives a good insight into a person like Mickey in terms of how they approach tragedy or love or anything. He seems to be kind of kind of going I think we lost Dan.
Dude, I was just about to say something. Yeah, I saw him disappear. Do you have his number or link or anything?
I don't know.
Oh Lord.
I don't know, but it destroyed the train of thought. But we've kind of gone on pretty long here.
We have, but I will say there is that moment where Eddie, and keep looking for Dan, but Eddie and Mickey have that big argument at the end after Phil's dead.
Yes.
And Eddie accuses Mickey of not feeling. And Mickey says, no, I feel. I just don't feel the way that you feel.
Yeah.
And I think about that a lot. I think about, because we all kind of have the same conversation, but we can't find any common ground. We all talk about love, or we talk about connection, or we talk about commitment, significance, but I don't think people experience those things in the same way. Like, I know married couples who are happily married and they function very well, but I look at their marriage from the outside and I think, I don't want that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they don't experience romantic love on the same way that I experience it.
Yeah.
Or but that could be with anything.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going. I'm drunk. But
Yeah.
But no, but like people experience things a different way, and so where someone talks about a thing and they have an abundance of feeling, someone else might not. And you could be tempted to say that person's dysfunctional, but maybe they're not. Maybe that's just their nature.
Right. Yeah, I think that
here it comes. He's coming back.
Yep, we got him.
My internet.
Hey, there you go. You're back.
Here I am.
We were just talking about doing the same, staying in the same lane. So Wolfman, can you summarize what you just said?
Oh shit.
But it's the way that people communicate, but like the way that Phil is different from Eddie is different from Mickey, and how like Mickey and Phil, those two personalities can't match up. But
Phil is so emotional and so reactive. And like Phil lives in his blood. He lives in his guts.
Yeah.
And Eddie lives in his mind. He's neurotic. He overthinks everything. And Mickey, he lives in this weird space in between. He doesn't live in his soul, because I don't think Mickey has a soul. But he's just like, there's that line where Eddie is under the glass coffee table and he's doing coke, and he's like, what do I have to do to make you angry? And Mickey is like, maybe it'll happen someday. Like, Mickey's a fucking sociopath, And I don't think it's a coincidence that he's played by Kevin Spacey and he's wearing this weird fucking blonde wig just to telegraph that he's fake, that he's phony.
That's just how people's hair was in the 90s.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Listen, I didn't live in LA.
That haircut is real and it roamed the earth during the 1990s.
No, for sure. Yeah. For sure. And like I wasn't in LA in the 90s, but I would watch scenes of this and they were driving down these roads. And I'm like, oh shit, I've driven down that road. I've been in those buildings. There was a particular scene where it looked like they were up in Malibu. And I've worked on houses up in there, and like they're like streets where like, oh, I've been on that street and I've interacted. I don't know, it was strange. It was a haunting experience to watch this movie. But no, like Mickey is such a singular I don't want to say villainous, but he is a type of guy that you have to keep track of. Yeah. And in the time that I lived in Los Angeles, I ran across a lot of different types of people, but you would run into these people who were clearly like you're off the map and you don't feel things the way that I feel them. So I'm going to interact with you on a different plane.
Yeah, I actually really like the part. This is where I identify with Mickey, because people are always fucking telling me that I don't have feelings, and it's like, no, I just don't have yours.
Exactly.
Exactly. And mine are fine, and they work for me. And like, yeah, I know, like I don't give a fuck about a lot of things that you give a fuck about, and I don't know why you think that because you give a fuck about them, I'm supposed to, but like I have feelings, they're just not yours.
Right.
And I love that part when Mickey says that. To me, the like emptiness of him is the line adequate. Because Mickey's or Eddie's nobody to him. He's just, insert cocaine wingman here, and that's it.
It's compartmentalized. It's like you're over here. That's where you are. And I don't try to involve me in your shit because this is where you are. And if you're not going to be there, it's going to just kind of get filed out and we're going to get a new there, and that's how I relate to Mickey as well. It's more like my interactions with people is more like, is like that in terms of, I'll meet somebody, everything's cool, we're really tight, but then something happens, I don't see them again, and then I'm just kind of like, even if I see them on a train, I've known them for 10 years, I'll just kind of avoid just getting in their path, you know what I mean? Like it's they're here, and I don't know, it's but I can understand that detachment, I guess.
Yeah, it encapsulates like something very real about urban life, particularly in LA.
Yeah, it's very transient, very detached.
But also the whole thing where like, okay, let's say I just met you, in a bar and we were talking, oh shit, you like Hurly Burly too? That's awesome. We have so much stuff in common. I live in East Hollywood. Where do you live? Koreatown? Cool. See you again. Never.
Yeah.
You live in West Hollywood? Fuck, dude. I will never see you again.
Never.
It's too, I'm not going to be friends with somebody who lives in Century fucking City.
Yeah.
Hey. I lived in Century City, you son of a bitch.
There's nothing wrong with Century City. It's just when I live in East Hollywood and you live in Century City.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 hours.
Yeah, it's like, no, I don't like you that much, dude. Like, you're not fucking me. So I'm not spending 4 hours out of my day getting to your place and back.
But that's why we meet in Hollywood.
You go to see a movie at the what was that old theater? It was like the Panorama Theater.
Pantages.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be. Is it gone yet, or it's gonna be gone soon?
I think it's gonna be gone soon. That's
dude,
where I would meet people, be like to hang out. Like, all right, let's go see a movie over there.
fuck Los Angeles.
Do you know?
Dude,
Yes.
if you were not gonna show up at the Frolic room, we were not gonna hang out.
Dude, I was so all right. I'm gonna get a little close to the vest here. I moved to LA later than I should have. But like everybody else, my idea of LA was fictional.
Yeah.
And I was like a generation behind. You know what I mean? Like my idea of LA was a fiction that was 10 years old.
Yeah.
At best.
I mean, the thing about LA is like LA just kind of exists to remind you how awesome it used to be.
Right.
And never will be again. And like that was true 10, 15 years ago. And it's fucking so true now. I mean, like I haven't been to LA in probably 5 or 6 years, but like the last time I was there, I just couldn't fucking believe how different it had gotten in such a short space of time. And with things like the Pantages going away, you know, they're gonna lose lots of stuff. I mean,
that city is so determined to destroy its own history and to eradicate everything that made it great.
Every city has its peak, and LA's peak was probably in like the golden age of cinema. New York's peak was before that, and it's been floundering for longer. San Francisco's peak was in the gold rush, and it sucked since then. You know, pick your time. I live in Las Vegas. Las Vegas peaked in the Rat Pack era. You know, and
Vegas is a lot like LA in that it has that like.
Yeah.
It was awesome 60 years ago.
Exactly.
Now, like,
yeah.
You know,
it's like, remember when Sinatra and Elvis were here? That's what everything is here. Remember, Dean Martin used to play here.
Yeah.
No, that's just the way it is.
Who wrote the Suicide of the West?
Pat Buchanan.
Yeah, it's kind of like this idea that like there's this almost trigger thing where it's like we don't preserve anything. Like you look back to like you look in Japan, they know how they fought with the swords.
Yeah.
We don't know how they fought with the swords in medieval times. We have no idea. Every movie that you see is a guess of how they used the longsword. They don't know how they use the longsword. They don't know how they use the shorter sword. We have no idea. It's like we have this thing of like constantly creating these things. Are like, oh, this is great. Wait, how do we do that? I don't fucking know. We just fucking got rid of it and brought in something. You know what I mean? There feels like this knee-jerk reaction that's always there. That's like erasing and not preserving. Whereas in China, they have all these records and shit. They've just been making records forever. Does that make sense at all?
I mean, they've been manufacturing records in fucking China, but in Japan,
sure.
maybe so.
Yeah, but just like that art form of like how to fight with a sword. That to me always stuck out. Like how there's where we have the methods here, we know how to like make things good, we know how to make things work, but we instead just you know.
I think something is gonna grow because
those are just like go in waves or something.
Well, it's just like I talk to people now, and I'm a little disheartened by the number of people in my personal life who are not. I mean, they're not, for lack of a better term, to use the parlance of our times, they're not red pilled. But it's because like they have like lives, they have families, and they have like shit going on, and so I get it. And me, I'm a fucking psychopath, and I'm single, And, you know, so I have the time to dive into this shit. But I'm noticing more and more people kind of sidling up to things. And while I think the short term for art and for expression and daily living in the West, in the short term, is going to get really fucking grim. In the long term, I am very, very optimistic because there's just no sustaining this flimsy kind of lie that we're living in. That's how I feel. I don't know. Maybe I took things off the rails. I've been drinking. I lose track.
It's funny watching you guys get drunk.
Yeah, man.
But
is it nostalgic?
It doesn't, but it's fun to watch. But I have to wrap because I actually have to go do some shit. But man, this was a good hang. Having back.
Yeah.
Talk about Sean Penn movies.
Yeah. If that's what you want to do.
No, dude, I don't actually. It just was funny that like the last two movies. No, it's not true because I did the third TPN appearance I was on.
Yes.
But like it's just funny that like the one thread that connects all the movie podcasts I've done is fucking Sean Penn.
He's important. It's important.
You know, have me back on whenever for whatever. Like I'm down for the hang because I'm a very isolated human being. So
do you like the movie Shortcuts?
I've never seen it.
Okay.
Is Sean Penn in it? I don't think he is.
No, his brother Chris Penn is in it.
Oh,
okay, close enough.
Close
enough. Even better, arguably.
Yeah, man.
They play brothers and at close range.
Yeah, I'm more of a Chris Penn guy myself.
Yeah, well, Dan.
True Romance. He's in Reservoir Dogs.
Yes.
Best of the best. Like
Footloose.
Footloose. He's fucking great in Footloose, which I finally saw last summer for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's a great movie.
Like, Footloose for me until last summer was Footloose is on TBS. Watch a scene, change it, watch it.
Right.
You know, like I've seen Footloose, but like I've actually seen Footloose now. And that was the same week I watched might have been the same night I watched Staying Alive, which I fucking love so much and is an amazing movie. And it's like when I saw Xanadu for the first time and I was like outraged that people said that it was a bad movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fucking how fucking dare you besmirch the good name of Xanadu, this like loving throwback to the golden age of Hollywood musicals with the Tubes and the fucking dude from the Warriors, you know, like it's such a beautiful movie. And I was so mad when I watched it. It was like, I can't believe people hate this. And that was also, you know, I had a similar kind of like reaction to it. This evening, after I eat dinner and run some errands, I will be watching, as I said on the timeline, Skate Town, USA.
Yeah.
Which I highly recommend if the idea of a series of vaudeville skits like wheat pasted together with the plot of Airborne appeals to you, like you should watch it. And if that sounds horrible, you shouldn't. But what
is it called?
Skate Town, USA. When I lived in LA, they ran a triple feature at the Egyptian of the roller boogie movies, the roller disco movies. So there's Roller Boogie with Linda Blair, Skate Town, USA, which is Patrick Swayze's film debut, and Marie McCormack's in it. She's hot as fuck in that movie. And Xanadu. And it was like a religious experience for me. Like just nothing on earth brings me more joy than roller disco films. And I, you know, as much as I love Linda Blair, I want to spend a little time with the Swayze this evening. So that's, you know, what I got on the agenda after I run around and do a bunch of shit. So
Okay. That's what's on the docket.
that's what's on the docket. I only watch movies on weekends. Like I'm a book guy.
Yeah. What are you reading?
Yeah, I'm a book guy. I don't watch TV and movies because I like it. I won't fucking do anything else. It's that kind of like I have to ration it or it's gonna, and you appreciate it more too. It's like I don't like. It's very rare that I put a movie on just to like have some light and noise in the background. It's like I sit down and really watch a movie because it's like not a thing I do as frequently as other people do.
What are you reading?
I just finished reading a book by Nietzsche that I thought I hadn't read before, but I had, it was like 20 years ago, and I'm gonna start The Decay of the Angel by Yukio Mishima next because I read the first 3 books of the tetralogy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to read the 4th, and yeah, I mean Yukio Mishima, like the coup and what this bodybuilding or whatever, like all that's cool, but it's to me it's sad that it overshadows like what a brilliant artist he was, because I just think that I love Michel Houellebecq, and I think he's easily the greatest living writer, but he just has nothing. I mean, Mishima is just like in another category of artists. He's just, it's a thing with like, one of the things I wanted to kind of just like put a button on Hurly Burly. I don't think David Rave is anywhere in Hurly Burly. Maybe like the animosity towards women, but like, I don't see the characters as being, I don't see any of them as being his like, wish casting, insert myself into the story kind of person. I mean, maybe elements of himself, but Mishima's like really good about that, in that like his writing isn't gimmicky and OMG so relatable. It's just like if you try and summarize a book by Yukio Mishima, it's very, very difficult because it's like, there's all kinds of shit going on, and like it's not like there's no gimmicky sort of elevator pitch thing that you can hang the story on, and it's just he's a beautiful writer. So people should be into him for something other than like memes and his suicide. So
like Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment type of feeling of being unable to describe what's going on while you're reading it.
Yeah, it is a lot like Dostoevsky, who I'm not like, I've read very, very little Dostoevsky. I've read Crime and Punishment, I've read The Idiot, and I read, he did Notes from Underground, right?
Yeah.
That's all I've read by him. And like, so I'm not some, Dostoevsky scholar, but it's like that, like, what is The Idiot about?
Right.
Like, how the fuck do you explain to somebody who hasn't read The Idiot what The Idiot is about? I'm not trying to jerk myself off and be fucking logo and be like, well, I don't know that a plebeian such as yourself could understand the complexities of this plot, but it's like, yeah, like the fuck is The Idiot about?
What the fuck is what is Don Quixote about?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like any book like that, what the fuck is Don Quixote about? Like,
how do you describe that to somebody?
Yeah, it's like when you tell somebody that you read books like this or that you watch movies like this, and they're like, "Was it fun?"
Yeah,
and you're like, well, I guess.
I guess I had fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I cried. That was fun.
Yeah.
Well, again,
nevertheless,
Dan, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey guys, seriously, thanks for having me. I will anytime. Like I love going on podcasts, and y'all are a fun bunch to watch drink. So
yeah. Well, you're interesting to talk to and interesting to listen to, mostly. So it's like thank you so much. Like just thanks for coming and spending time with us, and like I don't know, it's good. Bouncing ideas off you. I'm fucked up. I know Wolf fans are talking about it the whole time, but I'm now starting to be like, hey.
Well, look, man. Later to this point in the pod. So do have me back on, but like, yeah, dude, I gotta fucking do a bunch of shit and eat food.
Okay.
Keep drinking.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan, it was good to finally talk to you voice to voice.
Same. And Trevor, I'll find you on the Twitter, even though you don't.
Yeah, I'll follow you.
We'll do this again,
I'll
guys.
do that tonight.
Take it easy, guys.
You too, man.